Good morning everyone. How are you all? बढ़िया. कैसी चल रही है प्रीलिम्स की प्रिपरेशन? Okay. Okay. Is it good? बढ़िया. Okay. So in the last class that we had discussed, we have covered roughly till Gupta period, right? So to some extent we can say that the ancient history related key terms that we had discussed comprehensively. And see, it's not only the technical keywords that we are discussing, we are also talking about those connecting points with respect to history. Jैसे if there is any specific book that is talking about, if any, let's say statecraft, or maybe about the biography of or any specific other individual, that also we are talking about simultaneously, and that will be comparatively more important when we are going to talk about the medieval India. And medieval India, it's not only the Islamic period that we have to be concerned about, it's also the South Indian history, it's also the history of the medieval India from the perspective of the Arab invasion, then the Turks, then eventually there were many other assimilations that was there with respect to India. इसके अलावा I have also incorporated certain things from the perspective of colonial India also, that also we are going to cover about. Because see, during the modern India, the terms are comparatively more recognizable क्योंकि easy language use हुई है, right? So certain things I have incorporated over here, and if there will be need arises that we might be having a separate session with respect to the modern Indian history related key term, but their key term will not be that much. There will be more coverage about the conceptual aspects. So we'll see if there is any session regarding the conceptual things that we can cover. But right now we are going to cover from the perspective of the remaining aspect of the ancient and medieval India, right? Okay. So let's again talk about these particular thing one by one, right? Okay. So we have covered till Gupta period. Have you got clarity with respect to the approach that we are taking regarding coverage of this? ठीक है, तो जितना needed aspect है उतना cover कर रहे हैं along with that. Were you able to find the handout for the first session? मिल गया था वो? ठीक है. If not, because many of the online students were finding difficulty, so because I had shared just after the session, but it got delayed a bit. So if in case if there is any issue, so you can check it over here on my Telegram channel. ठीक है. _IR Vishal _Salsekar _IR, right? So t.me, you can get it instantly after the session. I'll get it uploaded also, this one, right? So you can check it over here. Now the next important aspect that we have to talk about, because see, now when we are entering from the ancient India to the medieval India, a lot of systems are getting changed. For example, the Gupta period was to some extent, we can say, that is going towards the feudalism. But then from the time period of Harshavardhan, and eventually when you will see the medieval South India, and then eventually the medieval India from the perspective of the Islamic invasion, you will observe the feudalism is going to be a primary feature with respect to the administration. So feudalism or the Samantvad system is going to be very, very prevalent, right? So we have to talk about those particular terms which are related to the feudalism. So the first term is the Samant. Now who exactly is the Samant? Samant is basically the feudal lord, right? So in a different language, this particular term is being utilized. Just during the Vijayanagar time period, there were Amara Nayakas, right? So those Amara Nayakas are also the feudal lords. Then during the time period of the Mughals, there are going to be the Mansabdars, right? Delhi Sultanate में आप इक्तादार्स देखोगे. So these are basically those particular individuals who are assigned with some jagir or certain piece of land. The responsibility of those particular individual over that particular assigned land is to ensure tribute to the ruler, ensure the nominal suzerainty towards the ruler, ensuring the military administration, and ensuring the revenue collection and appropriating that particular revenue to the ruler, right? So इसीलिए this particular aspect is going to be very, very important. So the Samant is an important term which is the feudal chief, right? So that is a feudatory ruler. In the case of Samant, suppose karo, or the feudal lord, if there is a question asked that in this particular cases, the Samants are overpowering the authority of the king, it's not actually correct statement. Yes, they were having the substantial control over the land that they are governing, but the nominal suzerainty is always going to be there towards the ruler. तो हमेशा nominal authority जो होगी वो ruler की होगी, and the feudal lords are going to be the supreme in their own command, but eventually they will also have the ensuring that the nominal rule or the nominal tribute is going towards the ruler, whether it is sultan or the emperor. Next is the sub-infeudation. What exactly is sub-infeudation? Now these feudal lords can also sublet the land. This is, suppose I have got some land in Ikta. Now what I am going to do, I am going to distribute that particular land to 10 other individual. तो मेरा काम हल्का हो गया. I have devolved my responsibility towards those 10 people. Now what I have to do, I do not need to directly collect the land revenue. I'll ensure the responsibility of those 10 people among whom I have parcel this particular land. अब मैं इस land के ऊपर का overlord हूँ. And what I am going to do, I am going to ensure that those 10 people are going to give me the revenue. तो क्या वो 10 लोग मुझे पैसा दे रहे हैं? That particular thing is the sub-infeudation. So it is a layered land grant to the sub-vassals. Now obviously suppose करो आपको let's say 10 acre land you have got, 1 acre you have given it to the individuals, and then from 1 acre land you are getting the revenue. So that is the sub-infeudation, right? और बाद में once we are going to talk about the modern India, there is a absentee landlordism. क्योंकि देखो, this is Samant or this may be the, let's say later on Zamindars also or maybe Jagirdars also. Now initially तो you know that there is somebody who is gaining the authority from the ruler, but अब उस particular person ने 10 लोगों को और responsibility दे दी. Now those 10 people might have devolved it to again 2 to 3 people under them. So अब उसमें you are not getting that who is the actual lord, who is the actual person जिसको राजा ने वो जमीन दी है, rather than who is actually collecting the revenue from you. Yes or no, right? So this is the sub-infeudation, and in that particular case it is going to give to the phenomena of absentee landlordism. आपको नहीं पता that landlord कौन है, landlord रह रहा है अपने शहर में, and the person you are giving the rent to, that is the maybe उसके under और उनके और under there may be certain people that they have hired, right? Next is हाँ किसमें Tinkatia system is completely different from the perspective if you are talking about the sub-infeudation. Tinkatia is a specific system with respect to indigo, जहाँ पे out of 20 you are giving the 3 parts in order to and it is forced for you to cultivate the indigo, and that was also during roughly in the early 20th century. ठीक है, तो वो एक अलग चीज है, but then this sub-infeudation is the general term, right? उसको दोनों को mix मत करो, right? Then Velan Vagai, right? So Velan Vagai, basically when you will be seeing this particular feudal terms in the context of the South Indian history, you will see a lot of the terms which are parallel to this. So for example, there is Velan Vagai. Now see, during the time period of the Pallava or the Chola rule, there is going to be the South Indian or the Dravidian region that is going to get predominant with respect to the administration in India, right? Administration of basically we can say the Deccan region in the South India. Now in that particular cases, now the land previously that we had discussed that they are used to be the Brahmadeya, the territory that was being provided to the Brahmins, or basically the territories that can be provided to the institutions also. Okay? So different type of territories or land that can be provided to those particular people who are either the religious individuals or who are holding the educational institutions, right? The Shala Bhog land was also there. There was Devdana also there, the land attributed or land provided for the temple related maintenance. Now, what exactly had happened that there are certain times जहाँ पर non-Brahmins को भी land दिया जाता था. Now see, if it is provided to the non-Brahmins, obviously they have to cultivate that particular land and उसके ऊपर tax भी देना पड़ेगा. So they are basically the type of landlord you can say. So they are basically the landlords, and this particular Velan Vagai is basically the land provided to the non-Brahmins. And there used to be, if we talk about the Chol rule, we will further discuss about that there used to be the local administration which was getting predominance. So now in the local administration, there were 3 prominent authorities. The first prominent authority was Urar. So Urar used to be the assembly of Ur. Ur used to be the common village. Common village means जहाँ पर mixed caste individuals are living. Mixed caste means ऐसा नहीं है कि it's specifically talking about caste. It's talking about different professional individual. ठीक है, different profession के individuals हैं, all of them are being taxed. So Ur is headed by the assembly which is known as Urars. So this is assembly which is going to govern Ur. Now next in this particular case is, okay, so next in this particular case is basically the land of the Brahmadeya. And this particular Brahmadeya land are being governed by an assembly known as Sabha or Sabhaiyar or Mahasabha. So Sabha, Sabhaiyar or Mahasabha. These are the terms that are being utilized for the Brahmadev or the Agrahara land. And then another local level is the Nagaram. So Nagaram used to be the trade towns. जैसे हमने बात की, these are the priestly community getting the free land. Free land means the tax free land. उन्हें लैंड पे रेवेन्यू नहीं देना, टैक्स नहीं देना, बट देन देयर इज गोइंग टू बी द अथॉरिटी. उन्हीं में से लोग, इंडिविजुअल्स आर गोइंग टू गवर्न द रिलीजियस एंड द सेक्युलर अफेयर. दिस इज सभा, सभैयार और महासभा. उर हेडेड बाय उरार. नाउ देयर इज नगरम. नगरम इज बेसिकली द ट्रेड टाउन. सो दिस इज द ट्रेड टाउन, ट्रेड और द मर्चेंट्स टाउन, the region jahan par merchants are settled. Now see, with respect to agriculture, generally the rural areas are more predominant, but with respect to the trading communities, it is the town that are going to be predominant. Jaise jaise trade activities badhte, there is going to be rise of town. So this is going to be the town level body for the trade and the merchants, and the body that is going to be ensuring the rule over this particular region is known as Nagarattar. So Nagarattar used to be the body which is going to govern over this particular land. So in the Chola time period, or you can say during the Pallava and the Chola rule, the local administration was more emphasized, and that is being governed by these particular authority. There used to be Ur, the mixed caste village, Brahmadev specifically for the Brahmin community Jine, or who were being provided with the Agrahara land, and then Nagaram for the trade and the merchant communities headed by Nagarattar, right? So this is not exactly administrative level, but this is the multiple parts of the local administration only. Administration we will talk about separately. Next is the Eripatti. So करेंगे अभी डिस्कस, अभी चोल पे हम लोग आए नहीं है, विल डिस्कस, ठीक है. सॉरी, नहीं अभी हम करेंगे चोल पूरा, हम डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे. इन दैट इफ यू विल हैव, बिकॉज सी ऐसा नहीं है कि चोल रीजन या द्रविड़ रीजन में ओनली, बिकॉज ओनली इज अ एक्सट्रीम वर्ड, यू एग्जैक्टली डोंट नो. द प्रेडोमिनेंट स्टाइल दैट वाज डेवलप्ड इन दैट पर्टिकुलर रीजन वाज द द्रविडियन स्टाइल. अब आप बोलो, इफ देयर इज अ स्टेटमेंट टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट गुप्त रूल ओनली इन्फ्लुएंस द नागर स्टाइल ऑफ टेम्पल आर्किटेक्चर, इट्स रॉन्ग. The second stage of the Nagar style of temple architecture, या second stage of the Gupta temple architecture, जहाँ पे the second story was added, that actually influenced the Viman also. So it is also said that the Gupta style of temple architecture also influenced the Dravidian style of temple architecture. So influence is a very lucid term. You can assume, and there are many such common features also. सो कॉमन फीचर्स के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में इन्फ्लुएंस की बात भी हो सकती है, राइट? सो ऐसा नहीं है, एक्सट्रीम सेंटेंसेस पे यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी कॉशियस अंटिल और अनलेस यू नो एग्जैक्टली कि ऐसा है ही नहीं या ये हो ही नहीं सकता. इन दैट सिचुएशन ओनली यू हैव टू मार्क दोस पर्टिकुलर स्टेटमेंट करेक्टली. हम सारी चीजें करेंगे अभी डिस्कस, ठीक है? राइट नाउ वी हैव जस्ट स्टार्टेड विद द फ्यूडल एस्पेक्ट, ठीक है? सो वो सारा टर्म करेंगे, बी पेशेंट थोड़ा सा, ठीक है? Next is Eripatti land. Now Eripatti land is basically, Eri is used for the irrigation related term, right? So Erium ya Eripatti. Now Eripatti was a predominant term that was being utilized for the tank irrigation, but mainly during the Pallava rule. So the land that was being provided for the maintenance of the tank or maintenance and development of the tanks for the irrigation. Now, why there was a need for this much emphasis on the tank irrigation ya canal irrigation? Simply the reason is that the regional setting that we are talking about in this particular place, it is comparatively not having much perennial rivers. So there are mainly the seasonal rivers. There are rivers like the Krishna, Godavari, Kaveri, Pennar. These particular rivers are there, and in these particular rivers, generally they are getting very less water during the summer time period, and that's why this particular type of irrigation related support had to be provided. So whether you talk about the Kalanai dam that was being developed by the early Chola rulers, or later on Gangai Konda Cholapuram canal that was being constructed during the time period of Rajendra Chola. So the irrigation, the canal system, that was very very important from the perspective of the South India. Next is the Shala Bhog. Now Shala Bhog comes from Shala and the Bhog. For the Shala, the Bhog is basically the land for the utilization, right? So Shala Bhog is for the educational institution. So for the educational institution, this particular land that is being provided, तो यहाँ का जो revenue है that is going for serving the educational institution. Now there is another set of land which is known as the Palicha Chandam, which is basically land donated towards the Jaina community. So Jain monasteries या Jain community के लिए या priestly community within the Jainism, that particular land that is provided is known as the Palicha Chandana. ठीक है. So Palichichandam is basically the land for the Jaina institution. Next is Hiranya. Last class में भी we had discussed about Hiranya. What exactly does it mean? हिरण्य का मीनिंग क्या होता है? गोल्ड, राइट? सो बेसिकली हिरण्य इज एनी टाइप ऑफ टैक्स विच इज पेड इन गोल्ड. गोल्ड वाज बेसिकली अ टाइप ऑफ मोहर और कैश ड्यूरिंग दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट इज द टैक्स दैट इज पेड एग्जैक्टली इन द कैश, राइट? Next is the bhog. So we have already discussed regarding the bhag, bhog, bali, different type of taxes. So bhag used to be the land revenue during the time period of the Gupta, कि जो production हुआ उस production का how much part you have to give it to the state, right? So that is the bhag. Now bhog is the additional aspect. जैसे for example you might be producing fruit. Now entire village has to gather certain amount and then that particular amount is going towards the king. So this is additional apart from the bhag individual's responsibility. This generally used to be the collective responsibility. So tax in kind. So produce, services, right? So this is the type of tax. Next, during the Harsh period. Now, Harsh period ke dauran, the administration was roughly similar to the Gupta period. So there was no much changes. There used to be the assemblies that were exactly that we had seen during the time period of during the time period of the Gupta rule. So Harsh period mein again you can revisit the Gupta time period mein whatever we have discussed, that is going to be the similar level. Generally there used to be another level which is known as the Pataka, that is the town level or the below district level, below which there was Patakas also, and then below that there used to be the grams. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा बहुत nomenclature change है but not much change over there. Now during Harsh period there are certain prominent key terms that we have to discuss. Is first regarding the Harshcharit. Now Harshcharit is basically talking about the rule of Harsha by his court poet Banabhat. Now this Harshcharit is generally considered to be one of the earliest biography of ruler which was written formally and in a proper manner. Proper manner means it is talking about like what type of rule was there, what different type of systems are there. So whatever we get to know is generally through the Harshcharit that is written by the court poet Banbhat or by the accounts of Huyen Sang. So या तो हुएन सांग के अकाउंट से हमें पता चलता है रिगार्डिंग हर्ष, और जनरली थ्रू द हर्ष चरित विच इज रिटन बाय बाणभट्ट, राइट? सो दीज आर द इंपॉर्टेंट सोर्सेज. नाउ हर्ष चरित अगर स्टेटमेंट आता है दैट इट इज वन ऑफ द अर्लीस्ट ट्रीटाइज विच वाज बीइंग रिटन और बायोग्राफी दैट इज बीइंग रिटन रिगार्डिंग अ रूलर सिस्टमैटिकली और फॉर्मली, दिस इज अ करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट. So this is regarding the Harshcharit. Next is the Kadambari that is again written by the Banabhatta. So it is a Sanskrit play, one of the early Sanskrit play that was being written. Gupta period pe mainly it was by the Kalidas, the plays were being written. Here during the rule of Harsha it is basically the Banabhat, and the specific play was Kadambari. It is the Sanskrit prose romance which written by Banabhat, right? Next Siyuki. Siyuki is basically the accounts of West. Now the Huyen Sang who came from China, from his reference point India is towards the west, so wherever he had gone. Now what type of route he followed, that was also important. So do you know which particular route Huyen Sang had followed? Silk route, right? So basically what he had done, he went from the region that where he was in the China towards the Gobi Desert. Gobi Desert se then he went further north, then he went towards the Central Asian region. From the Central Asian region then through the northwestern region he arrived in India. Then he went all towards the Nalanda region. Eventually he also visited different other kingdoms. So these are also very important, because it was not only the Harsha's kingdom or the Pushyabhuti reign where he visited, he also visited the Pallava rule. So in the Pallava rule he visited during the reign of Narsimhavarman I or the Mamalla, right? Apart from that he also visited in many other regions he visited, right? So Pallava was one of the most predominant rulers during this particular time period. Even he visited famously during the Chalukya's reign, and Chalukya's reign में Pulkesin II, in whose empire he had gone to. Now Pallava and the Chalukya, both the prominent dynasties. The Chalukyas were ruling over the Deccan region, Pallavas were ruling mainly in the further southern part in the present day South Indian region या present day Tamil Nadu के आसपास region, with the capital territory near around the Kanchipuram region, right? So Pulkesin or Narasimhavarman II के accounts, that also gives an idea regarding the presence of the Huensang in that particular reign. And Huensang's presence over there and Huensang's even documentation regarding the defeat of Harsh. Huensang also have confirmed that yes, it was being Pulkeshin II who got victorious at the banks of Narmada river. And then there is another inscription which is known as the Aihole inscription. So Aihole inscription was written by the court poet Ravi Kirti. Ravi Kirti was the court poet of Pulkeshin II. So that is written over the Meguti Jaina temple. Meguti Jaina temple is in the Aihole region. So that confirms the Harsha's defeat in the hands of the Pulkeshin Dvitiya, and his southward expansion was being checked. So then he had taken the title of Parmeshwar. Pulkeshin II had also taken the title of Parmeshwar after defeating Harsh. Okay? And obviously the Dakshin Pateshwar, because it was the Uttar Pat Nath, that was the title that was taken by Harsh. So he was the Dakshin Pateshwar. Right? Huh. Sorry. उस समय पे क्या? हाँ. तो डेजर्ट कितने टाइम में बनता है? नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. ठीक है. Okay. Next is the Mahamoksh Parishad. So during the time period of the Harshvardhan's reign, there were two prominent assembly that we have to discuss. First is the Kannauj assembly, famously held roughly in the 643 AD or CE ke around. And this particular assembly was to commemorate or to honor Huensang and also to propagate the ideals of a Mahayana Buddhism. So during this particular assembly, a lot of tributes were provided to Huensang, a lot of gifts were being provided, and also in this particular assembly there was an incident of fire. So this particular assembly is also attributed to that there was an incident of fire, and then those who were captured out of this particular type of investigation, many of them were executed. So though Harshvardhan got converted into Buddhism, and because of which the type of punishments that were being provided during the time period of Harshvardhan, from the accounts of Huensang in the CUK, that was talking about कि जो गुप्त रीन में जो जितने harsh punishment थे, the nature of punishment comparatively in the later part of the Harshvardhan reign got reduced. Why? Because he got converted into Buddhism, and because of the Buddhist ideals, the punishment became comparatively lesser in the form. But when in this particular Kannauj assembly, when there was fire incident and a conspiracy पाई गई, so there was execution of many such individuals. So next assembly is the Mahamoksha Parishad. This is also known as the Prayag assembly. So this particular Prayag assembly used to be a quinquennial assembly. Quinquennial is held in every 5 years. So once in a 5 year, and this particular type of assembly is also said to be as the precursor to the Kumbh Mela that we are seeing right now. So the origin of Kumbh Mela or this type of religious gathering that we can see during the time period of Harshvardhan also. And this Prayag assembly was one such assembly jahan pe he used to donate everything whatever he had accumulated in the last 5 years. So it is not one such assembly like the Kannauj assembly. It was a quinquennial. 5 साल में एक बार होती है, and every 5 year में whatever he had accumulated, even his the personal belongings, even the clothes, right? जो भी उसके पास है, he used to donate everything, right? So this is the Mahamoksha Parishad. Next is the Nalanda desert. Oh, sorry, Nalanda region. So Nalanda is basically the most important Mahavihar with respect to the Buddhist time period. Now, last class mein we had talked about who initiated or who established the Nalanda University. It was Kumaragupta from the Gupta ruler, right? So Nalanda was established by him, but gradually now the Nalanda को जो revenue आना चाहिए वो revenue नहीं आ रहा है, and that's why the Nalanda was perishing. And then again the revival of Nalanda was being done by Harshvardhan. So Harshvardhan assigned roughly more than hundreds of the villages का revenue towards Nalanda. उसके बाद after Harshvardhan also it was during the Pala ruler, because where it is situated in the region of Bihar, and later on after decline of the Harshvardhan there was no such authority that was ruling for roughly 100 years in that particular reign of Pala. So after roughly 100 years in the 750 there was establishment of the Pala dynasty under the leadership of Gopal, और वहां से again the Nalanda University get revival, and along with that a lot of other universities were being established. Okay, so Nalanda was there. Now, the next important aspect from the perspective of the South Indian history was the tripartite struggle. Now, what exactly was the tripartite struggle? Now, there were 3 parties in the North India. There were Palas in the east, Pratihar or the Gurjar Pratihara in the west, and Rashtrakuta in the south. Now, this was not a single war. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक वॉर हुआ और वहां डिसाइड हो गया हु इज द एक्चुअल रूलर. इट वाज अ कांस्टेंट सीरीज ऑफ वॉर्स. द टू वॉरिंग पावर्स, ईस्ट में पाल, वेस्ट में देर आर गुर्जर प्रतिहार, दे वर फाइटिंग फॉर द नॉर्थ इंडियन सुप्रीमेसी. एंड द सेंटर, बिकॉज द during the reign of Harsh, the capital city was Kannauj. So since the Kannauj was the seat of administration, and that's why the Kannauj was having legitimacy, and that's why this particular tripartite struggle was mainly for the Kannauj, or ensuring the Kannauj as the seat of legitimacy or the seat of North India. Who is going to ensure the victory over Kannauj is going to ensure the victory over North India. Now what is so significant about Kannauj? क्यों इतना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है apart from the Harsha's legitimacy? क्यों ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है Kannauj? Any importance or the significance attached to Kannauj region? Anything? हाँ? अरे यार देखो, मतलब ऑन अ वेरी सीरियस नोट आई एम सेइंग कि भाई इतना अगर इन चीज़ों पे ध्यान दोगे ना, मतलब पढ़ाई नहीं हो पाएगा. ठीक है, तो क्यूरियस माइंडसेट, मतलब the Mahendravarman one also had the curious mindset. He devoted that curious mindset in order to create something. So destruction में नहीं जाना है, creation में जाना है. ठीक है, this is a friendly advice to you. ठीक है, तो इंश्योर करना है, क्योंकि एग्जाम में फनी स्लैंग्स नहीं आएंगे, एग्जाम में आएंगी जो रेलेवेंट चीजें. समझ रहे हो आप? राइट. सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज मतलब वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग टू अंडरस्टैंड, क्योंकि वो चीजें मतलब व्हाट विल यू डू विद द क्यूरियोसिटी, इस तरीके का. राइट. तो बेसिकली वी हैव टू थिंक फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव जहां पे एग्जाम में वो चीजें काम आए. राइट. और whether they are increasing our information on any specific thing. Right. So basically the Kannauj was very important. See, how situated is Kannauj? Where it is situated? It is situated in the plains region. Plains region of the Gangetic region, the Doab region of Ganga and Yamuna. Now in this particular region on the course of Ganga, it is an important trade route. A very important thing with respect to trade route. Another important thing is, since it is a trade route, since it is the fertile region, there is going to be more agriculture. अगर ज़्यादा agriculture होगा वहाँ पर, there will be more production who is going to control that particular fertile seat of Kannauj या फिर Gangetic plain. अब पूरा Gangetic plain mainly fertile है, वहाँ पर भी Kannauj, since it was the seat of legitimacy during the rule of the Harshvardhan, and that's why Kannauj specifically became important. Otherwise तो पूरा Gangetic region is important, and that's why you will see कि initial time period पे भी जो महाजनपद एस्टेब्लिश हुआ, that was also established over there. So that's why this particular region was very very significant. Now पाल और प्रतिहार के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में तो समझ आता है that both of them were the North Indian power, एक वेस्ट में है और दूसरे ईस्ट में. But why Rashtrakuta? They were sitting at the Deccan region. They were peacefully living over there. Why they want to expand over there? Because suppose karo, if they have conquered majority of the region of Deccan, now if they want to ensure their supremacy over the rest of the India, where they will go? They will be willing to go towards the region of North India. They will go, they will conquer that region. But do you think that they will be able to hold that region? It's going to be very difficult. अपने घर से कितना दूर जा रहे हैं वो? They are going from the region of Deccan. The Manyakhet used to be the region जो Malkhet present day Karnataka region में. From the Karnataka all the way to the Uttar Pradesh region, if they will go, they can defeat the ruler. If they are powerful, they can defeat the ruler, and they have defeated multiple times. But in that case, chances are high कि जैसे ही वो retreat करेंगे, there will be again these powers going to assemble, and they will be ensuring their own set of rule. That's why in this tripartite struggle, it is going to be multiple battles, right? There are multiple battles between different rulers. जैसे in the initial battles, initially the Pal ruler displaced the local rulers of the Kannauj, and the Pal rulers had taken capture of Kannauj. They did not directly rule over the region of Kannauj. Dharmapal, who was the second Pal ruler who controlled the region of Kannauj, but through the feudatory. And there was a feudatory known as Chakrayudha. So Chakrayudha used to be the feudatories who was placed by Dharmapal. So Dharmapal ने उसे कन्नौज की सीट पे बिठाया, and through that Dharmapal was ruling over Kannauj. So initially Pal ruler started ruling over the Kannauj. After that Pratihars displaced them. उसके बाद the Rashtrakuta also emerged as the major power under the leadership of, there was a prominent ruler Dhruva. So Dhruva used to be a prominent ruler of the Rashtrakuta, who from the all the way to the region of Karnataka went towards the region of Uttar Pradesh. He defeated the Dharmapal. Dharmapal retreat कर गए वापस towards that region. But since he was, because from his region of south to all the way to north, when he went, eventually वहां पर जब वो वापस आता है, then Dharmapal again have taken capture of that. Apart from that, there are certain other rulers, जैसे from the side of the Pratihars also. There are rulers like the Nagbhatta II. Nagbhatta II replaced or removed the Dharmapal, who have again recaptured the region of Kannauj. Ab Nagbhatt II, again from the Pratihara ruler, he had taken control. Fir now the son of Dhruva, Govinda III went there, defeated the Nagbhatt II also, defeated Dharmapal again. अब गोविंदा III ने कैप्चर कर लिया, एंड इवेंचुअली फिर वो वापस रिट्रीट कर गए, फिर लोकल पावर्स आ गए. सो बेसिकली इट वाज अ कांस्टेंट स्ट्रगल. नाउ इन दिस एंटायर स्ट्रगल, डू यू थिंक एनीबडी इज गेटिंग विक्ट्री? नहीं, they were winning the battles. Nobody is going to win this particular war, and that's why eventually over a period of time, because of this particular entire series of conflict, हुआ क्या? All the three powers had shed a lot of economic might, and eventually सारे कमजोर हो गए. And that's why even the Pal declined, even the Pratihars declined, and even the Rashtrakuts declined. So nobody emerged as the clear-cut victorious in this particular tripartite struggle. Now, how we get to know regarding this? Because there are a lot of things that were written already during that time period. A lot of universities were established during that time period. So there is a Khalimpur copper plate. Now, this particular Khalimpur copper plate is associated with the ruler Dharmapal. That talks about that once he had taken the capture of Kannauj region, there was a grand assembly that was being organized in this particular region. So this is the Khalimpur copper plate, which is found in the region of West Bengal. So presently West Bengal mein, if you know West Bengal, obviously you will be able to know that which particular power was ruling in the and around the West Bengal. It was the power of Pal. So roughly from the 8th to the 12th century, it was the Pal rule that was there in the region of Bengal and Bihar. Next is the Vikramshila University. Now another prominent university, roughly we can say second to the Nalanda only. So this was a major seat of the Buddhism, study of Buddhism, and specifically the Mahayana set of Buddhism that was established in the region of Vikramshila. So Mahayana, Vajrayana, all these type of things were being established, and this was established by Dharmapal. So Dharmapal, the second Pala ruler, he established this. So first Pala ruler Gopala established Odantapuri University, or Odantapuri Mahavihar we can say. So Odantapuri was established by Gopal. Then later on Dharmapal established Vikramshila University, and another prominent institution or the Mahavihar, which is the Somapura Mahavihar. So presently it is situated in the Bangladesh region. Vikramshila is in the Bihar, Bhagalpur region, and Somapura is situated in the present day Paharpur region of the Bangladesh. It is one of the largest Mahavihars that was established. Who established? The Pala ruler Dharmapal, right? So this is another prominent. Odantapuri, we have talked about the early Pala monastery, and it was established by the ruler Gopal. So Gopal established this particular university. Achha, a very important thing with respect to Gopal, just to give you an idea regarding this. See, generally ruler क्या होता है, या तो किसी existing rulers को replace करके आते हैं, या they are coming from that particular dynasty. But with respect to Gopal, the things are completely different. He was the elected king. So there is a story going around him that there used to be a Matsya Nyaya. मतलब इस इंस्क्रिप्शन में ही मेंशन किया गया है रिगार्डिंग द रूल ऑफ गोपाला आल्सो, दैट गोपाल वाज हिज प्रेडिसेसर, एंड इट वाज मत्स्य न्याय रफली इन द आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ हर्षवर्धन, एंड साइमल्टेनियसली इन द बंगाल विच पर्टिकुलर डायनेस्टी वाज रूलिंग, इट वाज द गौड़ा डायनेस्टी, एंड द रूलर वाज शशांक. So Shashank of Gauda dynasty was ruling over this region, and it is said that after the death of Shashank roughly in the 625-627 around में, जैसे ही उसकी डेथ होती है एक स्ट्रॉन्ग पावर हट जाता है वहां से. फॉर द टाइम बिंग हर्षवर्धन was able to control, but after the death of हर्षवर्धन again that particular region went into the law of fish, जहां पे और मत्स्य न्याय, जहां पे बड़ी फिश छोटी फिश को खा रही है. And eventually it was an anarchic type of situation, and that's why there were feudal lords. Those feudal lords led the election, and there were many such rulers. Those got elected, but कोई भी वहां पे बच नहीं पाया. And eventually in the 750 around, it was the Gopal that was elected, and he provided the good governance over that particular region, and he was also able to ensure the safety for himself. And that's where the Gopala dynasty got initiated. So he was considered as the one of the earliest elected king. ठीक है, जो election से आए थे. हाँ, sorry. मत्स्य नहीं, अगेन यू आर, मतलब आप कहाँ जा रहे हो? नहीं, ऐसा देखो, अब मत्स्य तो इज यूज फॉर फिश. नाउ फिश माइट बी यूज फॉर हॉर्टिकल्चर हर जगह, तो वो मत्स्य न्याय से ही थोड़ा है. मत्स्य मीन्स फिश. द स्कीम्स विद रिस्पेक्ट टू फिश मे कम फ्रॉम एनीवेयर फ्रॉम फिश ना. मत्स्य न्याय ही क्यों रिलेट करना है आपको? क्यों? समझ रहे हो आप? ठीक है. Next is another prominent personality associated with this. Now see, UPSC has this tendency to ask the associated person. He was not the ruler. So ye basically ruler, not ruler of Pala dynasty. He was the ruler of Sri Vijaya kingdom. Where the Sri Vijaya kingdom was? Indonesia, present day Sumatra region. So Sri Vijaya was the kingdom, and there were different ruler. Later on, Shailendra was also very prominent ruler. So this Balaputra Dev was also a prominent monarch of the Sri Vijaya kingdom of the Sumatra region in the present day Indonesia. Now what exactly had happened, that they were also following this particular Buddhism. Sri Vijaya kingdom was also mainly patronizing Buddhism, right? And in this particular cases, the Shailendra ruler of Sumatra, this granted the Vihar के लिए there was a place that was being granted to this particular ruler. ठीक है. So there was a ruler known as Devapala, the later Pala ruler. He provided the land, और वो land provide करके whatever revenue is going to be collected from that, this particular revenue is going to be for the development of that particular Vihar. So Vihar used to be the monastery or the residence place for those particular Buddhist monks. ठीक है. So Balaputra Dev was the ruler of the Sri Vijaya empire, right? Next are the prominent personalities associated with the Pala rule, Dhiman and the Bitpal. So Dhiman and the Bitpals are the architects also, sculptors also, right? So these are prominent personalities associated with that particular rule of Pala dynasty, Dhiman and the Bitpal, right? Next and the last aspect regarding the Pala rule is the Ramacharitam. So this is a text that was developed by Sandhyakar Nandi. So this is not about exactly Lord Ram, this is about the Pala ruler Ramapal. So Ramapal was the Pala ruler, and it was a semi-historical type कि जहाँ पर he was being compared also with the Lord Ram, right? So basically this is the type of a court narrative that was regarding the ruler Rampal. Now what is important? Ramacharitam by the Sandhyakar Nandi, right? So this is regarding the Pala rule. Now other dynasties with respect to this particular tripartite struggle was the Pratihar and the Rashtrakuta. Now Pratihars, basically if we talk about Pratihar, the term is a Pratihar. They are the doorkeepers. The meaning of Pratihar is the doorkeepers. Now, there are two narratives that are regarding this. One is regarding the Lord Lakshman, like the brother of Lord Ram. So he used to act as a doorkeeper for Lord Ram, and since the Pratihar community is deriving their origin keeping the Lakshman as their ancestor, and that's why this particular dynasty एक theory है. Another theory regarding that is where the Pratihars are situated. कहाँ situated है Pratihar? In the northwestern region, roughly in the western region, so जो frontier region है, and during this time period there was Arab invasions also that were intensified. So Muhammad bin Qasim, after Qasim there was the Umayyad Caliphate that wanted to establish its rule over the region of India, right? And from the region of Sindh, once Sindh was being conquered, and in order to expand the region, there was a rise of the multiple military invasions from that particular region, and there was a type of frontier confederacy that was established by certain prominent ruler. And the lead of this particular confederacy was Nagbhattavan, who was the Pratihara ruler. So that particular Pratihar also comes since they are situated in the frontier region of India, the northwestern region of India. Now why Gurjara Pratihar? Gurjara comes from the region of Gujarat. Okay. So Gurjara, so Gujarat region and the Pratihar, so entire dynasty was known by the name of the Gurjara Pratihar, right? So this is regarding the Pratihar dynasty. Now in that, what confederacy I was talking about, there was Nagbhattavan. Now this is one of the earliest aspect जहाँ पर हमें देखने को मिलता है कि in order to deal with the external power, now the Indian powers are combining. In the region of Kashmir, there was Lalitaditya Muktipad, who was the Karkota ruler. Then you come downwards, you will see Nagbhattavan, who was the Pratihara ruler. Then you further go downwards, when you will see in the Deccan region में it was the further successors of a Pulkeshin. Another Pulkeshin was there, and this particular Chalukya dynasty, जो Chalukyas है, this particular Chalukyas के अभी जो feudatories है, Rashtrakuta are still their feudatories. So Rashtrakuta अभी तक empire नहीं बना है, and Dantidurga was acting as the major general, and Dantidurga also went there. There was in the Rajasthan region, there was Guhila dynasty, and there was the there were multiple rulers, right, in that particular region. Bappa Rawal was one of the most significant ruler in that, and it is said that he arranged the confederacy of the Rajputana ruler. Exactly not Rajputana, but in that particular region. So this was the type of confederacy which from the region of Kashmir, they provided the entire chain of ruler, and that prevented the Arab invasion. And that's why you will see that from 712, jahan par Muhammad bin Qasim invade karta in the region of Sindh, he captured the region of Sindh, and roughly till the late part of the 10th century, jahan par there are going to be the later on invasion of the Mahmud of Ghazni, you will see that there is no expansion of the Arab or the Caliphate in this particular region. And the attribute is to be provided to these particular set of rulers, right? So ye bhi important, if there is a question regarding this informal confederacy that was established, so you should have a brief idea about them also. Next is Hiranyagarbha. We have already talked about it. Used to be a type of ceremony in order to gain the legitimacy, right? Hiranyagarbha ceremony, Hiranya basically is used for the gold, right? So in this particular ceremony, the ruler is going to donate a lot. To whom he is going to donate? To the priestly community. And why this particular donation is there? Because then there is going to be the ceremony that is going to be performed, and us ceremony mein it is said that the ruler has again reborn as in the higher kul. So generally जो rulers थे इस समय पे, जो dynasties established हुई, previously they used to be the local tribes of that particular region. Later on those tribes got Sanskritized, those tribes got Brahminized by performing certain type of rituals. So यहाँ पे the Brahminical community supported the Kshatriya rule. Kshatriya community provided them with respect to the land related donation. So it was a mutual quid pro quo type of situation that eventually ensured a stability also in that particular region. So Hiranyagarbha, it is said that the Danti Durga, who was the Rashtrakuta ruler or the founder of the Rashtrakuta rule, he performed the Hiranyagarbha ceremony in the region of Ujjain. So he said he came all the way from the region of the present-day Deccan, won over the region of the Pratihara or the Gurjara rule ka jo region hai Malwa ka, and then he captured Ujjain. He performed the Hiranyagarbha ceremony over the Ujjain region. क्या मिलेगा उससे? The legitimacy. People are now going to think that yes, the ruler has the sanction of God and he is ruling, so he is having the legitimacy over us also. Now, in the same Rashtrakuta ruler, there was another prominent ruler, Krishnavan. So Krishnavan established two prominent cave or the cave architectures in the region of the Ellora caves. One is the Kailashnath temple at Ellora, which was created from the top to bottom, right? So carved out from top to bottom. Roughly it is said that roughly more than 200 tons of the stones that was being carved out from that particular region. उससे भी बहुत ज़्यादा, a lot of stone that was being carved out from that particular region, and eventually that was created. So Kailashnath temple, a monolithic temple, or we can say the largest monolithic temple that is being created, right? So cave number 16 में situated है. Which particular style? Dravida style of temple architecture. Next is the cave number 15, जहाँ पे Dashavatar मंडप है. Now see, there is a Dashavatar panel in this particular cave temple also. In the Kailashnath temple, there is a Dashavatar panel. Dashavatar panel means उस temple के relief पे there are 10 incarnation of Vishnu that is also available, right? Apart from that, the Dashavatar mandap is different, and this is situated in the cave number 15. Again, the same ruler Krishnavan is associated with the construction of this particular temple. It is in the form of the mandap. Mandap means एक तरीके का plane वही available है जो temple के साथ associated होता है, which is a place for the gathering, multiple type of festivities, celebration and all, right? So this is the Dashavatar mandap that is situated in the cave number 15. Sorry, बहुत जगह पर है मंडप. रफली जितने caves बने हुए हैं, even in the मंदकपट्टू region, when we'll talk about the Mahendra Varman one, we'll see that initial जो भी carving हुआ, that is similar to the मंडप only, क्योंकि अब बहुत ज़्यादा architecture करने का आपके पास scope नहीं है if you are digging out in a cave, right? So that's where it is going to be the mandap, right? Even in the Mamallapuram also the Panch Rath temple जो आप देखोगे, in that there is a Bhim, जो Bhim का जो cave बना हुआ है, the Bhim cave. In the Bhim cave also it is the type of the mandap वाला type का cave. Next is the Kaviraj Marga. So basically there are different type of texts that were being developed, right? So Amogavarsha was a prominent ruler within the Rashtrakuta rule. He is considered to be the ruler who ruled for the most number of years. One of the largest, we can surely say. 64 year was his reign. roughly 64 years. We had not seen majority of the rulers नहीं रहे इतने duration में. So initial time period पे he conquested, but later on he stabilized the rule. He patronized Jainism also. He himself got converted to the Jainism, and then he started even writing. He was also a literary ruler. So basically Kaviraj Marg was basically a Kannada text that was being developed by Amogvarsh, attributed to Amogvarsh. Another text that was being developed by him was the Prashnottar Ratnamalika, and this particular text was written in the form of question and answer. Prashna, question, Uttar is the answer. So Prashnottar Ratnamalika, it is the Sanskrit work. So both the type of languages were being patronized. There is Kannada also, there is Sanskrit also. So since this particular power was ruling over a vast region, the Rashtrakutas were ruling over a vast region, so the different type of languages they were patronizing. Next is the Aihole inscription. We have already talked about the Pulkeshin Dvitiya, written by Ravi Kirti. Where it is available? Aihole, Meguti, Jain temple, right? Achievement over the victory, achievement of victory over Harshvardhan. Okay. Next is the Pattadakal. So there are three prominent regions associated with the Chalukya's rule. There is Aihole, there is Badami, there is Pattadakal, and these three are the places jahan you see most magnificent Vesara type of temple architecture. What exactly is Vesara temple architecture? It is taking certain attributes or the mix of the Nagar and the Dravida style of temple architecture developed mainly during the reign of a Chalukya ruler and mainly situated in the region of Deccan. Right, so it is the Vesara type of style. Now sites Aihole, Badami and Pattadakal. All these three were the major sites under the rule of the Chalukya ruler. Clear? Okay. Next is the Vengi. Now, jab the Chalukya got established their rule in the present day Batami or the Vatapi region, and eventually then they have conquered certain territory from the Mahendravarman I, who was a Pallava ruler. So there was a rivalry between the Chalukyas and the Pallav. And if you see the situation, suppose karo, if this is the, let's say India ka region hai, ye upar wala jo region hai, this is the region of Deccan, and this particular region mein it is the situation of the Rashtrakuta, और उसके नीचे there are the Pallavas. Present day Tamil Nadu, और Tamil Nadu में भी Tondai Nadu region. The Tondai Nadu is the central and the northern part of the Tamil Nadu, because in the southern Tamil Nadu during this situation it was the Pandyas. So southern Tamil Nadu mein it was the Pandya rulers. So it was like Rashtrakuta, then there was Pallav, and then there was Pandyas. Cheras kahan situated the? In the region of Kerala. Later on this particular Pallavs jinke feudatories the Chol. So Chol replaced Pallavs, and eventually then Chol defeated Chera, Chol defeated Pandyas, Chol even subsumed the Rashtrakuta, and then Chol eventually became the large power, consolidating majority of the power in the South India. Okay? So this is, we will talk about this in detail. So Vengi used to be that region जब उन्होंने महेंद्रवर्मन I को हटाया. So जो कृष्णा और गोदावरी के बीच का जो region था, that particular region was also captured. Though the Kanchipuram they were not able to capture, and Kanchipuram was the seat of the Pallava rule. That means Mahendravarman was able to save the Kanchipuram, but then the northern territory of the Pallava rule had to be seceded towards the Chalukyas, and Chalukyas ने जब वो region capture किए, they have established their feudatory, and their particular feudatory led the establishment of the Chalukyas of Vengi. So Chalukyas of Vengi was the most or the longest surviving branch of the Chalukya rule. Roughly 11th, 12th century ke around tak, it was the Chalukyas of Vengi that was there. So Vengi is a region between the Krishna and the Godavari river. Next is the Gurjar Pratihar. So Gurjar Pratihar mein again there used to be the prominent kings Nagbhatta I, Nagbhatta II, right? Apart from that, the most important ruler in this particular dynasty was Mihir Bhoj. So Mihir Bhoj was a Vaishnavite ruler. He had taken a title of Adi Varha. So Adi Varha was the title of the Mihir Bhoj. Now this should not be confused with the Parmar ruler Bhoj Raj, which is like who was the ruler on whose name the Bhopal is situated. ठीक है, तो वो परमार रूलर थे, and this is the Mihir Bhoj, who was ruling as the Gurjar Pratihar rule. Parmar was one of the offshoots of the Gurjar Pratihar. So Gurjar Pratihar was consolidating the majority of the dynasties in the North India, specifically the Northwest India. जैसे ही Gurjar Pratihar decline होता, the feudatories of the Gurjar Pratihar, the Chandelas were there were Gadwalas are there, then there were Parmars are there, right? So different dynasties came out of that. Next, the Rajshekhar, one of the most important personality associated with the with the Gurjar Pratihara dynasty, the court poet, and basically he wrote many such prominent works जैसे काव्य मीमांसा and the Karpura Manjari. These are the prominent texts associated with the Rajshekhar. So Rajshekhar was the court poet during the Gurjar Pratihara dynasty. ठीक है, क्योंकि कई बार होता है लेसर नोन कोर्ट पोएट, बिकॉज जनरली इतना मेंशन नहीं मिलता है इनके बारे में, राइट? सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. अनदर थिंग, हाउ वी गेट टू नो रिगार्डिंग द गुर्जर प्रतिहार. सो सिंस देयर वर अ लॉट ऑफ एक्सचेंज ऑफ द एम्बेसीज एंड इवन द अरब्स कंसीडर्ड दैट गुर्जर प्रतिहार इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट and the single largest enemy of the Arab expansion in India, and that's why there are the travelers account like the Suleiman and Al-Masudi which praised the Gurjar Pratihara dynasty and said कि भाई ये अगर नहीं होते तो it would be easy for us to invade the region of India. So there are the Arab accounts of Suleiman and Al-Masudi. So they can be asked regarding the contemporaries of the Gurjar Pratihara dynasty. इस तरीके से पूछा जा सकता है. Now let's talk about the South Indian dynasties. So in the case of the Pallavas, now see, जैसे गुप्त period and Harshvardhan period में administration is going to be roughly similar. Similar you will observe in the Pallava and the Chol rule, because similar region they have ruled. Chol initially used to be the feudatories of the Pallava, and later on जैसे ही Pallavs का decline होता है, Chol start asserting their own rule, and under the leadership of Vijayala Chola, the imperial Chola dynasty got established, and after that similar pattern of administration they will also adopt. तो जितना आप चोल में देखोगे वो सारी चीजें ऑलमोस्ट पल्लव्स के लिए भी एप्लीकेबल होगा, एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई हैव कवर्ड वंस इन द चोल ओनली, राइट? सो इन द केस स्पेसिफिकली ऑफ द पल्लव डायनेस्टी देयर आर सर्टेन प्रोमिनेंट थिंग, जैसे रिगार्डिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर पर्सनैलिटी महेंद्र वर्मन वन, who wrote a book or a satirical play known as Matta Vilas Prahasan. So Matta Vilas is basically used for one individual who is in or deeply indulge into all the type of, वो होता है ना कि all the type of pleasure, all the type of things, कि भाई he is depicting as a monk, but eventually there was also the alcoholism, there was another thing जो कि socially prohibited है, all these things are being done. So in the Matta Vilas Prahasan he specifically targeted towards the Jaina monks, कि भाई they are not basically, they are not showing कि भाई we are doing all these things, but eventually on behind the curtain a lot of things are being done. So basically in this particular play by the Mahendra Varman one, it is criticizing the religious hypocrisy. Now he had also taken many such titles जिसके बारे में UPSC ने question पूछा है, like the title includes the Matta Vilas, the title includes Chitrakar Puli, ठीक है? So there are a lot of titles that were being taken by him. Now his son was Narsi Varman one, who was known by the title of Mamalla, ठीक है? So a great wrestler, and later on once he defeated Pulkeshin Dvitiya, he also assumed the title of Vatapi Konda. Vatapi Konda means the conqueror of Vatapi, the capturer of Vatapi or the Badami region. Now talking about the local administration, we have already discussed there used to be Sabha. Now Sabha used to be the assembly of the Brahmins. So Sabha or the Sabhayar or the Mahasabha, that particular assembly is the assembly of the अग्रहरा लैंड. तो ब्रह्मदेय और अग्रहरा जो लैंड है वहां पर देयर इज सभा. नेक्स्ट इज उर, मिक्स्ड कास्ट विलेज. सो बेसिकली द असेंबली ऑफ द नॉन ब्राह्मण्स, राइट? दिस विल बी एप्लीकेबल इवन इन योर Chola rule, and this particular assembly was being led by the body which is known as Urar. Then there is Nagaram. Nagaram is the merchant or the trade settlement, and this particular assembly is going to be led by a body known as Nagaratars. Nagarattar, ठीक है? So this is the local level body. This is not the provincial level arrangement, this is the local level bodies, different type of bodies. Next is the Kalbharas. Who are the Kalbharas? So basically after the Sangam era we see that there is a discontinuation in the South Indian history, and it is said that there was a Kalbhara interganum during this particular time period. Roughly after the 3rd century AD there were the Kalbharas rule. Now who were Kalbharas basically? So this is considered as anti-Brahminical community or rise of the anti-Brahminical people. Why? Because a lot of history is not being written regarding the Kalbharas. We do not see. So basically, जो Brahmadeya या Agrahara patronage that was being provided by the rulers to the Brahminical communities, that particular things were being reversed by the Kalbharas. अब जो Brahminical community है, that was in anger with them, and there is no major historical accounts that are being written regarding them. And they were also being considered as the persecutor or those particular people जो कि civilized type के नहीं है, and that's why there is during this time period, during the time period of the Kalbharas interregnum, roughly from the time period of the 3rd or the 4th century CE to the 6th century CE, we see a lot of literature developed, but the literature is not talking about them. The literature like Tirukural by Thiruvalluvar or many other type of texts, जैसे Silapadikara, Manimekalai, everything is mainly written during this time period, but no literature is talking about them. So literature अभी भी बात कर रहा है संगम एज की, संगम एरा की. And after that the Kalbharas, since the Kalbharas were not patronizing Brahminical and they were patronizing Buddhist communities and there was a Brahminical resurgence. So जो resurgence हुआ पल्लव्स का, जो resurgence हुआ चालुक्य का, जो resurgence हुआ पांड्यास का, they created a confederacy in order to defeat Kalbharas. और वहां से they have defeated Kalbharas and then eventually you will see roughly in the later part of the 6th century there was rise of Pallavs also, there was rise of Chalukyas also, there was rise of Pandyas also. और वो फिर अपने अपने respective region में rule करते हैं. Clear? So this is the Kalbhara revolt. Now there is another term that you can see is Yali. With respect to architecture, Yali is basically a type of mythical creature that is being depicted and mainly it is associated with the Vijayanagar Empire. But in certain previous temples also we see the sculptures of Yali. So it is a type of animal that is being shown jahan pe there is sometime even the lion, sometime even elephants are visible, sometime even horse is visible. So lion with the horse body, lion with the or with the elephants, right? So this is a mythical type creature. So mythical lion-like creature used as a decorative motifs with the pillar. So pillar में ही there is the engraving of the Yali. So mainly with the Vijayanagar Empire also this is associated. Then there is a Grantha script. So Grantha is the script that is being utilized in order to write the Sanskrit and specifically developed during the time period of the Pallava rule. So during Pallava rule, mainly this particular Grantha script that was being utilized in order to write the Sanskrit, right? Next is the Mandagapattu inscription. Mandagapattu inscription is associated with the Mandagapattu cave, which is situated in the region of Tamil Nadu, one of the earliest cave structures that were being developed by the Pallava rulers. And in the Pallava rulers, they are considered as the pioneer of the Dravid style of temple architecture, yes. So basically Dravid style of temple architecture mein majority of the contribution was being provided by them and then that is excelled by the subsequent dynasties. So this Mandagapattu inscription which is available in the Mandagapattu cave which is situated in the Tamil Nadu region, the inscription talks about, and this was written or this was during the time period of the Mahendravarman I. So Mahendravarman I writes that this is the cave dedicated to Ishwara. ईश्वर कौन? लॉर्ड विष्णु, लॉर्ड ब्रह्मा. एंड किस तरीके की केव बनी है दैट इज ऑल्सो मेंशन. लाइक दिस इज नॉट हैविंग एनी वुड, दिस इज नॉट हैविंग एनी मोर्टार, दिस इज नॉट हैविंग एनी ब्रिक. दैट मीन्स इट इज अ सिंगल स्टोन केव, अ मोनोलिथिक केव which is carved out of rock, which is not having any joint. So all these description are being provided in this particular Mandagapattu inscription, जहां पे महेंद्रवर्मन वन बता रहे हैं कि this cave I am donating to God and this particular cave is not having any of the things, कि कोई joint नहीं है, कोई mortar use नहीं किया, कोई bricks use नहीं की, single stone से मैंने carve की है this particular cave. Second stage में एक मिनट बस. सेकेंड स्टेज में इट वॉज डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द मोनोलिथिक रथास ड्यूरिंग द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ नरसिंह वर्मन वन एंड लेटर ऑन इन द थर्ड स्टेज यू सी द स्ट्रक्चरल टेम्पल, क्योंकि मोनोलिथिक वॉज ऑल्सो फ्रॉम द सिंगल लार्ज स्टोन देयर वॉज कार्विंग आउट ऑफ द रथास which is available in the Mamallapuram, developed by the personality Narasimhavarman I, and then there was structural temple. So the shore temple was one of the earliest structural temple, और उसके बाद the second or the one of the most important structural temple was the Kailashnath temple at the Kanchipuram, and that is considered as a prototype of the Dravidian style of architecture. There is Gopuram, there is a Prakar, Prakar is the outer boundary wall, there is a Garbhagriha, Garbhagriha के ऊपर there is a Viman also. वो सारी चीजें जो आप assume करते हो in a Dravida style of temple architecture, all these things were there. So and then later on that things were being mastered by the Chola rulers. So Chol के time period पे it is the Brihadishwar temple, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, Airavateshwar temple, many other temple which are also part of the UNESCO's World Heritage Site. हाँ जी बताइए. हाँ Mahendravarman, अच्छा सन के Mamalla was one title and another is Vatapi Konda, the conqueror of Vatapi or Badami, after defeating the Pulkeshin II. Because see, Pulkeshin II defeated Mahendravarman I, महेंद्र वर्मन वन को हराया, ही कैप्चर्ड रफली द मेजॉरिटी, मतलब मोस्ट ऑफ द रीजन्स ऑफ द पल्लवा रूल, राइट। तो अब पल्लव भी तो उनको रिवेंज लेना है, राइट। सो नरसिंह वर्मन वन, हु वाज ममल्ला, ही डिफीटेड पुलकेशिन टू, एंड दिस इज द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ रफली 642 सीई के अराउंड। ही डिफीटेड, ही किल्ड, and in that particular battle Pulkeshin II was also killed, and the Vatapi was sacked, and Vatapi was captured, and roughly for next 13 to 14 years the Vatapi was under the control of the Pallav ruler. After that there was a resurgence of Chalukya again. So this Chalukya and Pallav conflict was going on roughly for a century, and mid of the 7th century around, ये rivalry comparatively खत्म होती है, Pallav अब weak हो जाते हैं, and Chalukya also simultaneously got weaker, and in this situation there was rise from the Chalukyas, there was rise of Rashtrakuta. Chalukyas से there were Rashtrakuta, from the Pallavs there was rise of the Chola. ठीक है, तो दोनों अलग अलग जगह पे अलग अलग सेट ऑफ डायनेस्टीज। हाँ, नहीं सभा में नहीं थे, देर वो सभावतीस नहीं था, बिल्कुल, कौन बोल रहा है नहीं था सभा में, they were there, women, instances of women were there, not that much available in number like they were there in the Vidhat or the Samitis. During the early Vedic period they were there, later Vedic period में the number got reduced and eventually that declined, मतलब वो completely ही बंद मान लो आप, but initial time period पे it was there. Here it is the Brahmadev village. अब उसके composition वगैरह में we exactly don't know because we didn't get to know about कि कोई inscription major नहीं मिला है, but there was assembly of the people who got the Brahmadev land. Now the Sabha used to be that particular assembly जो govern करती है Brahmadev land को, ठीक है। तो इतना है, मिला है हमें, एंड दिस इज मच वी हैव टू आल्सो बी कंसर्न्ड अबाउट, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट इज द चोल पीरियड। नाउ दिस इज एप्लीकेबल टू द चोल्स एंड द पल्लव्स आल्सो अबाउट द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन। नाउ एट द अपेक्स लेवल इट इज गोइंग टू बी द मंडलम, राइट। सो अपेक्स लेवल पे देयर इज मंडलम। सो जो भुक्तीज थे, जो भुक्तीज दे वर देयर ड्यूरिंग द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ द गुप्त रूल, मतलब द प्रोविंसेस, दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोविंसेस का इक्विवेलेंट वाज द मंडलम. And generally the Chola empire was divided into 4 mandalam, generally being governed by the royal princes or the those particular people who were the at the apex of the administrative hierarchy. Next is the Valanadu. So during the time period of Chola, this Valanadu was established and which was headed by an authority known as Periyanattar. So this was an administrative unit, we can say they are the sub provinces. जैसे आज होता है there is राज्य, there is संभाग, then there is a district, right? So generally वो division वाला aspect you can assume to the Valanadus. They are the smaller type of provinces which are the group of district. Then there were Nadus, which is basically the cluster of district or cluster of villages, and this particular Nadu was led by the authority known as Nattars. So there are mandalams, then there are Valanadus, Periyanattar के द्वारा, and Nadu by the Nattar. Then there are Kurrams, generally they were the grouping of the villages. So Kurram was there, this is basically below the Nadus, right? Then there were authorities like there were Ur, headed by Urars, which is the assembly for Ur. There were Sabha, Agrahara land के लिए, there were Sabhayars, और there were authorities like Mahasabha, that is the authority, and then there was Nagaram, Nagaram by Nagaratta, right? So this is the type of provincial level का governance. Next is that we get regarding the Chola time period is the Uttari Merur या Uttara Merur inscription. Now this was written during the time period of Parantak Chola. Parantak Chola, one of the prominent ruler in the मतलब imperial cholas में जो early rulers थे जिनके बारे में हमें ज्यादा नहीं पता. But then regarding Parantak Chola, it is mainly got to know from the Uttara Merur inscription regarding one such system that was prevalent during his reign, that was the Kudavolai system. Kudavolai system is basically the system of local democracy. Like right now you see the Panchayati Raj, so there used to be the similar system on the similar lines of the Panchayati Raj. Now in this particular Kudavolai system, what they used to do, there was a pot, in that particular pot there were chits that were being written. Now किसके नाम रहेंगे, who are going to be the representative जो eligible है उसके लिए, there is a eligibility criteria that is also mentioned. You should be having roughly 35 to 70 years का age. You should not be having any charges or any criminal charges, any corruption charges against you. You should not be any existing member of any of the assemblies. If you follow these particular conditions, if you possess a property, आपके नाम पे घर होना चाहिए. If you have all these things, you should be having the knowledge of Ved. आपके पास वेद और शास्त्र की knowledge होनी चाहिए. If you have all these type of classification or qualification, then you will be entitled to get nominated. Entitled, not you will directly get nominated. फिर आपका नाम डाला जाएगा उस पर्ची में, एक इंडिविजुअल आएगा, वो पर्ची उठाएगा, वो हेड को देगा, and that particular head will read the name, and then that particular person is going to be appointed. There are also checks like you should not be having any of the charges of corruption and all. ठीक है, तो basically this is the Kudavulai system, which is about the earliest model of the direct democracy or direct type of democracy. ठीक है, so they are the electoral representatives. उत्तरी मेरूर inscription किससे associated है? परांतक चोला. So परांतक चोला. Roughly the 10th century के around this particular inscription was there. Next is Varyam. Varyam used to be the sabhas or assembly. Now these people who are going to get elected over here, there are going to be the sabhas or the committees. There is the Erivaryam. Erivaryam is going to be for the irrigation. Then there are many others. So there were 6 committees. And there used to be the 5 member each in those particular committees. Then next is the Tanur. Tanur is basically the a type of unit. Jaise there used to be Sabha, there used to be the Ur, there used to be Nagaram. Similarly, there used to be Tanurs also. They were the large village, separate village. They were having the separate set of revenue collection wala aspect. Okay. So this is regarding the provincial aspect during the Chola period. Next is the economy, irrigation and trade. So there used to be a system known as the Vati Vayakkal system. Anybody knows about this particular system? Vati Vayakkal system. So this is consisting of 2 terms, Vati and Vayakkal. Vayakkal used to be the supply channel. Supply channel generally rivers. So basically, जैसे if you see India, like South India, Deccan region, so there used to be like this, there are rivers, so flowing from the west to east region. So this Vayakkal is the supply channel, west to east or east to west, what supply channel is flowing, and then Vati used to be the drainage channel. Drainage means यहाँ से supply, suppose करो, if you have to provide water to this region, what you will do, you can create a canal over here. आपको यहाँ पे इस रीजन पे दे सकते हो like this. There is the criss-cross network of the irrigation canals that is being done. So this Vati Vayakkal system is basically a type of system which is created by the criss-cross system of network between this particular regions of the Chol rule. So Vayakkal, the supply channel, Vati, the drainage channel, and this is the Vati Vayakkal is basically the criss-cross network of the supply channels. Then there is Erium. Erium is basically irrigation के लिए होगा, right? So tax levied for the maintenance of the irrigation tanks. Then there are certain prominent guilds that were there. See, एक prominent feature था ancient in the medieval time period का, and specifically in this particular reign of Pallav and the Chol, there were specific guilds that were very, very prominent. Now, in these particular guilds, what was the purpose of guild? Last class में भी हमने discuss किया था. They were basically the professional trade bodies. जैसे कुछ trade bodies वो inland trade के लिए support करेंगी. So जो traders हैं, the body is going to be concerned about the right of those traders who are trading in the inland manner. कुछ बॉडीज है जो एक्सटर्नल ट्रेड्स के लिए करेंगी, कुछ बॉडीज जो होंगी जो फिर सिर्फ और सिर्फ फॉर द कैरावेंस दे वर डूइंग. ठीक है, तो बेसिकली डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट में डिफरेंट ट्रेड बॉडीज आर गोइंग टू हैव देयर रोल. सो एनुत्रुवर विच वाज आल्सो नोन एज द आयवोल 500, दिस इज बेसिकली अ बॉडी विच इज सेंटर्ड अराउंड द रीजन ऑफ आईहोल, and this body ka task was, this is considered as one of the most prominent trade body roughly from the time period of the 9th to 14th century in the South India. Center kahan tha? Aihole. So Ayavol 500 is basically the 500 powerful merchants, जो कि एक guild, जो कि एक powerful pressure group you can say, or a powerful group like the, जैसे present day UC CII, UC FICCI, SOCM, right? So उस तरीके का body था, and this was mainly body that was related to the Southeast Asian region. Next is the Manigramam. Now Manigramam is basically related to the coastal plus inland both. So they were also dealing with the coastal trade, they were also dealing with the inland trade. So coastal trade में अगर deal करना है तो generally they were situated near to the coastal regions. Next is the Anjuvanam. Now Anjuvanam is basically used as a guild that is situated for the mainly for the West Asian interest. जैसे देयर वर रोम्स जिसके साथ ट्रेड हो रहा था, देयर वर अरब्स जिनके साथ ट्रेड हो रहा था, देयर वर इवन द पर्शियंस विद whom you were trading. So mainly in the western coast of India with the region of the present day Malabar या फिर region of the Karnataka coast, in this particular region this Anjuvanam is very very predominant. So जहां पर mainly there were people from the West Asian region, they were the prominent persons. ठीक है. So the people of mainly West Asian traders जो West Asia के साथ trade कर रहे हैं, Indian or the other trader, they were part of this particular Anjuvanam guild. Last is Nana Desi. Nana Desi means multiple Desi, means which is a trading with multiple regions. So Nana Desi was the guild that is the trading with multiple region. Now UPSC कैसे question पूछ सकता है? Either they can ask about the 1, 2, 3 and simultaneously क्या purpose था. Other than that they can give you this just name. Ainutruvar or या Manigramam या Anjuvanam was a predominant term associated with which of the following. जिस तरीके से यूपीएससी पूछता है, right? So they can ask you like this. And then last is the Valangiar. Valangiar used to be the itinerant traders. So itinerant means जैसे बंजारास थे. During the time period of the Mughals, Delhi Sultanate, there were Banjara community. Banjaras क्या करते थे? Banjaras used to provide from the places जहां पर production हो रहा है उस चीज का to the last mile connectivity, these Banjaras were providing, right? So this is also Valangiar used to be the itinerant trading community, means they were moving, they were on the move constantly. Last class mein we had talked about the term known as the Sarthvahas, who were the caravan leaders, right? So basically you can now relate the Valangiars with that particular community जो कि provide कर रहे हैं trade linkages. They were moving with the caravans, right? So they were constantly moving. So this is the type of service or the facilitation that this particular community was providing. Next is the temple architecture. North Indian temple architecture we have already seen. In the South Indian temple architecture, let's talk about certain terms. Gopuram. Now Gopuram used to be the entrance. So Kailashnath temple at the Kanchipuram region, one of the earliest Gopurams that we are observing, and then there was a rise of the Gopurams, and that Gopurams became more magnificent during the time period of the Vijayanagar Empire and later on the Nayaka rule. So in the Madurai temple, ठीक है, Meenakshi temple of Madurai, or apart from that even in the Sri Rangam, if you see the Ranganatha Swami temple, there you will see the series of Gopurams also. And generally in the Gopurams or in the South Indian temple architecture, you will observe that many a time the main shrine is the smallest one. और उसके बियॉन्ड जितने स्ट्रक्चर्स होंगे यू विल फाइंड द लार्ज स्ट्रक्चर्स. व्हाई? बिकॉज मेन श्राइन वाज क्रिएटेड अर्लीएस्ट एंड देन ग्रेजुअली जो डायनेस्टी आई, दैट डायनेस्टी केम, दैट डायनेस्टी एस्टेब्लिश प्रकार. जैसे दिस इज द मेन टेंपल. नाउ डायनेस्टी 1 केम, दे हैड क्रिएटेड दिस इज नोन एज प्रकार जो आउटर बाउंड्री है, एंड एट द एंड और एट द सेंटर ऑफ दिस देयर वाज अ गोपुरम क्रिएटेड. अनदर पावरफुल डायनेस्टी केम, दे एडेड अनदर प्रकार, इससे भी बड़ा गोपुरम बनाया. अनदर डायनेस्टी केम, इससे भी बड़ा प्रकार और बड़ा गोपुरम. लाइक दिस multiple dynasties and multiple gopurams. So in the Ranganath Swami temple of Sri Rangam, you see 7 series of gopurams, one by one. So 7 type of prakars are being observed. प्रकार क्या है? जो outer boundary wall या pillared wall जो होती है, that is known as the prakars, right? Garbhagriha, obviously it is same as the North Indian temple architecture, जो जहां main shrine है, main sanctum sanctorum is the Garbhagriha. Gopuram is the monumental gateway or tower. Generally it is the largest, it is the highest aspect of the temple. ठीक है, generally I'm not saying always. ठीक है, there are a lot of exceptions that are there even in the Brihadishwar temple. Viman, now what used to be called by the name Shikhar in the North Indian style of temple architecture now became Viman in the South Indian style of temple architecture. But in the case of the South Indian temple architecture, on and above Viman there is a stupika. So जैसे suppose करो, this is the, let's say this is a type of शिखर. Now on this particular शिखर there used to be ऐसा कुछ crowning element होगा, and this particular thing is known either by the शिखर or the stupika. So if you see and observe the Brihadishwar temple, the stupika is having in the tons of weight, and it is said that there was a ramp created because this is the monolith. अगर सपोज करो 80 टन के आसपास की चीज को इफ यू हैव टू शिफ्ट इट टू मोर देन 180 फीट्स के अराउंड की हाइट पे, इट इज प्रैक्टिकली इम्पॉसिबल विद द रोप्स, राइट? सो दैट्स व्हाई यू विल नीड अ रैंप. आपने एक रैंप बनाया और रैंप भी एट अ ग्रेडियंट जो कि बहुत ज्यादा, जिसपे इजीली एलिफेंट चल सके, एंड देन 4 to 5 or 6 किलोमीटर का रैंप दैट वाज बीइंग कंस्ट्रक्टेड, एंड थ्रू दिस पर्टिकुलर stupika was placed. So stupika is the crowning element or the uppermost element. Next is Garbhagriha, same. Mandap, again the pillared halls. Now this particular mandaps for ritual gathering, because in the South Indian temple architecture, the temple used to be entire institution. There used to be even the girls associated with the temples. Devdasi tradition was there, and even the Brihadishwar temple में you see the inscription written on the bottom of the Brihadishwar temple, जहाँ more than thousands of the line का temple जो inscription है that was being written during the time period of Rajaraja Chola, that talks about that what was the administrative aspects, what is the temple related tradition, Devdasis कौन थे, what was their background, their family के बारे में idea, who was the persons behind the construction of this temple, military history of Chola rule, all these things are written. One of the most elaborate inscription that is being written, the Brihadishwar temple, right? Then there is Prakara. Prakara is the enclosure wall surrounding the temple complex. Okay? So there can be, if there is a statement asking that there can be multiple Prakara associated with the South Indian temple architecture, yes, because every dynasty will come and they will be ensuring the large and large Prakara in order to show their dominance. Last, the Shikhar. शिखर इज द क्राउनिंग एलिमेंट, डोम शेप्ड ऑक्टागोनल एलिमेंट, ठीक है, जो एक टॉप मोस्ट एलिमेंट होता है. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. सो इन द केस ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन देयर यूज्ड टू बी दंड पाशिका. सो इन द नॉर्थ इंडियन देयर इज द महादंड नायक ड्यूरिंग द Gupta time period, right? So Dand Pashika was the officer in charge of the law and order. So basically they are for the policing or the law enforcement. Then there is Raj Tarangini. Raj Tarangini is basically the book written by Kalhan, and that particular Raj Tarangini talks about the history of Kashmir region. So Raj Tarangini was written regarding Kashmir. Now this is very important term because generally we have, as of now, we have talked about the different name for the educational institution. Now the Ghatika used to be another prominent institution that was there, and these are the center for the Vedic learning in South India. So this was mainly centered around in the region of the Kanchipuram. So Kanchipuram was having multiple Ghatikas. One of the most prominent Ghatikas of the South India were available in the Kanchipuram region. Objective क्या था कि भाई वहाँ पे people will come, they will get the Vedic education, they will get the Vedic learning in that particular place. So there is a story associated with the Mayur Sarma who established later on the Kadamba dynasty. So there was a prominent dynasty in the South India near around the region of Karnataka. So it is said that once there was Pallava ruler. Kanchipuram के around कौन सा rule था? Pallava ruler. So roughly in the 4th century it is said that Mayur Sarma came because the Kadamba used to be the feudatory of Pallavs. Mayur Sarma came to the Kanchipuram region and he was being rejected even by the person who was sitting outside the जो पूरा empire है उसके बाहर जो घुड़सवार रहते हैं, they did not allow him to enter into this particular region. He came for the Shastra study. He was not allowed to study that. So eventually he took up the Shastra. He went to the tribal regions. He collected the forces. He defeated the Pallava rulers and eventually made sure that the Pallavas are going to be the feudatories of the Kadamba. And then he established the dynasty or Kadamba dynasty in the region of the present day Karnataka. So Kadambas of Banvasi जो बोला जाता है. So that particular dynasty was the Kadamba dynasty established by Mayur Sarma. So the story goes with the Ghatika कि Ghatika में पढ़ने के लिए आता है and eventually he led the establishment of one of the prominent dynasties of South India. Then Ghatika Yantra. अगर Ghatika Yantra है, so this is regarding a type of watch. A type of watch when the sun is not there. So this measures the time by the measurement of water. So Ghatika Yantra is used to measure time with the help of water. Next there are Bhakti movement. These are certain prominent works with respect to the Bhakti movement, just to have an idea regarding this, because Bhakti movement there were two prominent trends. The initiation of Bhakti movement mainly in the South India 7th 8th century के around there were two prominent trends. One were the Alvars and another was the Nayanars. Alvars who were the devotees of Lord Vishnu, Nayanars who were the devotees of Lord Shiva, right? And then there were a different set of people. Now there may be even question asked to you regarding that, were they supporting the Buddhism and the Jaina institutions? No, they were to some extent against that. Why? Because जो एक तरीके से मिशनरी एक्टिविटीज की तरह the religions were getting expanded in this particular region, and as a religious resurgence that was the Alvars and the Nayanars ka task was even to contradict the ideals of the Buddhism and Jainism and ensure that the people should get not forced with the rituals in the Brahminical tradition, but should be provided with alternative कि they can be connected with the God. By जैसे होता है ना कि by chanting, by different other things, जैसे later on in the medieval India there were abhang, there was varkari, like the going to the pilgrimage site, like naam japna type of traditions, right? So those particular things were being provided by the Nayanars and the Alvars as an alternative to the ritualism, but not going on the ways of the Buddhism and Jainism. So there are certain prominent texts. So Nalariya Divya Prabandham is the most important text of the Alvars. Okay. Similarly, there is Paniru Thirumai and Thiruvachakam. These are the prominent works associated with the Nayanars. Okay. So this is the Alvar text. These are the Nayanar texts. Now, apart from that, another prominent personality associated with Alvar was Andal. So she was one of the few female associate. She was the only female in this particular Alvar tradition, right? So there is a Tirupavai and there is a Nachiyar Thirumozi. These are the works of Andal. Okay, just एक idea के लिए कि if there is any statement that is including these particular names, you will be at least in a position to eliminate. Next are the philosophy. Now, when we were talking about the ancient India, we have not discussed about philosophy. So there were 6 prominent Astika school of philosophy. Nastika school या heterodox school के बारे में we have already talked about. The Astika school. Now, Astika school does not necessarily ensure that there is going to be the authority of God that they are going to believe. They are believing in the authority of a Ved, not exactly the authority of God. And even the prominent theories like the Sankhya or the Sankhya philosophy, they said that there is no creator God. ऐसा कोई creator God नहीं है. World चल रहा है, there is no creator God. They do not deny the existence of the preserver one, but they said कि भाई ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि किसी ने create कर दिया है God. ठीक है? तो basically they talk about the knowledge, they talk about the logic. Okay. So one of the most important is the Sankhya by the Maharshi Kapila, that talks about that ultimate salvation you can achieve when you get the knowledge regarding that what is a Purush, what is a Prakriti. Purush is the ultimate being. We were talking about the Allahabad pillar inscription. Allahabad pillar inscription mein the Samudragupta was mentioned and equated with the Purusha. What is that Purusha? Purush is the supreme being. Means जो ब्रह्म का जो equivalent है, that is the Purush. So he was equated with the supreme being. He means he is मतलब not the individual, he is beyond the individual, right? And Prakriti is the matter. So it said that there is a dialectics or dualism between the Purush and Prakriti. So this is the Sankhya school. Now Yoga school says ki how you can achieve the unity of both and how that can be achieved through the yoga. What type of yoga? Ashtanga yoga. So Maharishi Patanjali was the personality associated with the yoga school. So Ashtanga yoga was the actual aspect through which you can achieve the ultimate salvation. So Sankhya का अगर equal आप बोलो कि Sankhya and another school which is related with Sankhya, it is the yoga. So generally these are divided into two parts. जैसे सांख्य और योग को साथ में यूज किया जाता है. There is a न्याय वैशेषिका school. So न्याय school by the Gautama, Rishi Gautama, and this is also talking about the knowledge. What is ultimate knowledge? Ultimate knowledge is by observation, by certain type of probability, by certain type of inference, right? So they talk about the pratyaksh, they talk about praman, right? So salvation कैसे मिलेगा? By gaining the ultimate knowledge. Ultimate knowledge कैसी है? जो आपने देखी है, जो आपने observe की है, जो आपने इंफरेंस ड्रॉ किए हैं. नेक्स्ट इज वैशेषिका. दिस इज द कंसिडर्ड एज वन ऑफ द साइंटिफिक एस्पेक्ट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द षड दर्शन या फिर आस्तिक स्कूल ऑफ फिलोसफी बाय ऋषि कनाद. नाउ इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द एटम्स दैट the ultimate knowledge is, or you get salvation by getting ultimate knowledge. कैसे वो ultimate knowledge आएगी? Once you will realize that everything is made up of the smallest element, and that is known as the atom or anu. So Anu or Parmanu that they were talking about. So Vaisheshika school talks about the Parmanu or Anu, and they talks about the 5 prominent elements. There is earth, water, air, fire and ether, means the sky. Charvak rejects ether. Charvak बोलते हैं कि 4 ही fundamental element है. There is no 5th fundamental element. Next is the Purva Mimamsa. Now Purva Mimamsa by Jaimini Rishi that talks about the Karma Kand. They say कि देयर इज नो क्रिएटर गॉड, सुप्रीमेसी गॉड की नहीं है, सुप्रीमेसी वैदिक रिचुअल की है. इफ देयर आर रिचुअल दैट आर मेंशन्ड, दैट हैज टू बी फॉलोड बिकॉज दे आर द साइंटिफिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग. वेद आर साइंटिफिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड दैट्स व्हाई द पूर्व मीमांसा टॉक्स अबाउट द सुप्रीमेसी ऑफ वेद. एंड लास्ट इज द उत्तर मीमांसा या फिर वेदांत, दैट इज द लास्ट पार्ट ऑफ द फिलोसॉफिकल ट्रेडिशन, जिसके अंदर उपनिषद्स भी आते हैं, जिसमें डिफरेंट अदर थिंग्स लाइक द डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ वेदांत आर ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ दैट. अद्वैत, द्वैत, विशिष्ट अद्वैत, भेद अभेद, ऑल दीज आर पार्ट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर वेदांता स्कूल. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नॉट एट्रीब्यूटेड टू अ सिंगल इंडिविजुअल. सो अद्वैत, different type of vedanta में अद्वैत वेदांत, अद्वैत means there is no two, means there is only one reality. One reality is the that supreme being, ब्रह्म ही ultimate reality है, and there is no other reality other than Brahma. Who is Atman, who is individual? Individual is Brahma only. So Brahma equal to individual. World क्या है? World is illusion. There is no world. जगत मिथ्या है. ठीक है, ब्रह्म सत्यम जगत मिथ्या. राइट. देन देयर इज विशिष्ट अद्वैत. विशिष्ट अद्वैत मींस क्वालिफाइड मोनिज्म और क्वालिफाइड नॉन ड्यूअलिज्म. सो क्वालिफाइड नॉन ड्यूअलिज्म मींस कि देयर इज अ ब्रह्म, देयर इज अ आत्म, बट जो आत्म है वो ब्रह्म का ही पार्ट है. आत्म हो या वर्ल्ड हो, दे आर पार्ट ऑफ द ब्रह्म. जैसे यू सी ट्री, ट्री में देयर आर ट्विग्स, देयर आर लीव्स, देयर आर फ्रूट्स, ऑल ऑफ देम हैव देयर ओन आइडेंटिटी, बट दे आर पार्ट ऑफ द ट्री ना. आप बोलते हो ये पेड़ का ही पार्ट है, राइट. सो देयर आर डिफरेंट एंटिटीज बट पार्ट ऑफ द सेम वन ट्री. सो लाइक दिस दे से कि ब्रह्म का ही पार्ट है आत्म भी, ब्रह्म का ही पार्ट है जगत भी. सो दे से कि देयर इज अ क्वालिफाइड नॉन ड्यूअलिज्म propounded by Ramanuja. Who propounded this Advaita Vedanta? Shankaracharya, right? Then there is Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta means dualism. They talks about that Atma is different, Brahma is different. They interact but they are not the same. So Madhavacharya talked about that there is Advaita Vedanta. God and soul are completely separate. Next is Bhed Abhed. Bhed Abhed means Bhed bhi hai aur Abhed bhi hai. They are different also, they are same also. And now this Bhed Abhed school were being interpreted by different scholars differently. Jaise there is a Nimbarak. Nimbarak talked about Dvait Advait. द्वैत अद्वैत मीन्स कि वो ड्यूअलिज्म भी है और वो मोनिज्म भी है. कैसे? ड्यूअलिज्म मीन्स देयर इज अ स्पार्क, देयर इज अ फायर. स्पार्क एक छोटा सा पार्ट है, फायर एक लार्जर यूनिट है, तो दोनों में एट्रीब्यूट्स में डिफरेंट भी है, ठीक है, इंटेंसिटी में डिफरेंस भी है, बट दोनों सेम भी है. कॉन्स्टिट्यूटिंग एलिमेंट तो सेम ही है ना, राइट. देन देयर इज अचिंत्य भेद अभेद. अचिंत्य भेद अभेद मीन्स, एंड दिस इज बाय द श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु. अचिंत्य भेद अभेद मीन्स आप सोच ही नहीं सकते. You do not possess the capability in order to even think about that there is similarity also and there is difference also. So that's why he talked about that it is not for our consideration in order to go into those details jahan pe there is a difference also, there is similarity also. This is the achintya bhed abhed, right. Next is the Chola art and culture. Now in the Chola art and culture the important aspects are that jo main thing hai wo hai basically the Nataraj sculpture. Now UPSC can simply ask regarding the Nataraj and what are the different element. So in the Nataraj there is a outer ring of fire that talks about the continuity, that talks about preservation, that talks about ki past, future, present, pura connectivity, right. Then there is the Lord Shiv that is shown with the Tandava Mudra, right. There are two hands, one right hand, one left hand, both are in the air, right. एक right hand जो है उसमें डमरू है, डमरू is for the creation. In the left hand there is a fire और एक तरीके का thunderbolt टाइप का है, and that shows the destruction. डमरू is for the creating, the naad for the creation, the fire is for the destruction. Then there is the right lower hand जो है that is shown in the Abhay Mudra, that is for the preservation, not to fear. And जो left hand है, जो lower left hand है, that is showing towards the feet. So this is showing feet like this, and that shows that the one who knows this particular thing, that there is a liberation in the feet. So अगर किसी को पता है liberation यही है. Then there is a अपस्मार या there is a dwarf, ठीक है. तो वो dwarf जो है जिसके ऊपर लॉर्ड शिवा खड़े हैं, that particular dwarf is showing ignorance. कि भाई अगर आपको कॉन्कर करना है कुछ भी चीज, यू हैव टू गो ओवर दिस, यू हैव टू स्टेप ओवर दिस. इफ यू विल कीप दिस ओवर योर हेड, यू विल नेवर बी एबल टू अचीव anything in life. Then there are the jatas. Jatas are flowing like this, so that is showing the cosmic aspect. So जो jatas है जो flow हो रही हैं, that shows the cosmos, that shows the cosmic power, right? So this is basically the depiction of different aspects of the Chola art, or specifically the your Nataraj sculpture. Now Nataraj sculpture was one of the most prominent sculpture that you see, and the continuity in that particular tradition will be observed across the entire period of the Chola dynasty, right? Now the next is again another important time period, and now we are entering into the Islamic invasion and subsequent Islamic rule. And first in this is the Delhi Sultanate. Important key terms है, UPSC बहुत पूछता है इस बारे में. Chances are very high from here also. Now, सबसे importantly there are certain administrative terms. So you might have listened to or heard about this term Mamluk. So the Mamluk dynasty, जो पहली dynasty थी, which was also sometimes considered as the slave dynasties, or because of association with the Ilbari tribe by certain rulers like the Iltutmish या बाद में Balban, they were associated with the Ilbari tribe, and that's why sometimes Ilbari dynasty also. What exactly is Mamluk? Mamluk means a individual who is owned or who is being taken as a slave. And what type of slave? Not as a conventional sense में आप domestic chores के लिए नहीं use कर रहे हो. That is the individual who is being given with all the type of education related aspects. Education किस manner में? Islamic education. He was being talked about and made efficient with respect to administration, military, in many other domain, and then that individual is now ready to even take the assumption of the office of even Sultan if there is a need arises. And that's where in the slave dynasty you see the slaves are going to inherit their successive masters, right? So Mamluk or Banda is being used for the owned, means they are the slaves, those who are purchased from different markets of the Central Asia, and then those were being utilized in the administration. Okay, so they are the Mamluks. Now Bandagan is basically a type of plural. मतलब जब बंदा, multiple bandas, multiple such type of slaves were being utilized in the administration, that is known as Bandagan. So it is the corps of the elite slave officers. They are the elite slave officers. So whether you talk about Qutbuddin Aibak, whether you talk about Iltutmish, या आप बात करो Balban की, all of them were the slaves, right? So they were the slaves. Now there is a Chahalgani or Chalisa or Turkan-e Chahalgani. This is basically the corps of 40. These are the 40 prominent slaves, 40 prominent elite officers who were part of the Iltutmish's court. So Iltutmish created this particular structure. They are the Turkish nobles from the origin from Turk region, or the origin from the Central Asian region. So they are the Turkish nobles, and this was organized by Iltutmish. Now gradually over a period of time this became a kingmaker authority. जब इल्तुतमिश की डेथ होती है, आफ्टर दैट रजिया सुल्ताना वर्सेस रुकनुद्दीन फिरोज, देयर वाज अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. रुकनुद्दीन फिरोज वाज एबल टू असर्व द थ्रोन. इवेंचुअली लेटर ऑन देयर वाज, विद द हेल्प ऑफ सर्टेन प्रोमिनेंट ऑफिशियल्स हु वर लॉयल टू रजिया सुल्ताना, शी वाज एबल टू कैप्चर द थ्रोन. बट देन वहां पर चालिसा और तुर्कान चहलगनी वाज प्लेइंग अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. तो जिसे चाहते थे राजा बना दे रहे, जिसे चाहते हैं वो हटा सकते हैं, राइट? So in order to ensure a strong rule, जो एक नया king आएगा और सुल्तान आएगा, what that particular sultan is going to do? Now sultan is going to reduce the authority of this particular body. अगर ये body powerful रहेगी, आप modern से compare करो, सैयद brothers, till the point of time सैयद brothers was in prominence. क्या कोई प्रोमिनेंट मुगल रूलर आ पाया? लेटर मुगल रूलर आ पाया? नहीं. उसके बाद भी नहीं आया हालांकि, क्योंकि केपेबल रूलर्स कम थे या नहीं थे. मोहम्मद शाह रंगीला, बट देन ही वाज एबल टू गेट एन आइडिया कि जब तक सैयद ब्रदर्स को नहीं हटाएंगे, दिस इंस्टेबिलिटी इज गोइंग टू बी कंटिन्यूड. एंड दैट्स व्हाई विद द हेल्प ऑफ जो बाद में जो निजाम बनते हैं, या जो बाद में हैदराबाद बनाते हैं, असफ जहां, विद द हेल्प ऑफ हिम दे एग्जीक्यूटेड द सैयद ब्रदर्स. ठीक है. सो मोहम्मद शाह रंगीला गॉट द सैयद ब्रदर्स एग्जीक्यूटेड. सो सिमिलरली दिस तुर्कान ए चहलगनी वाज आल्सो द किंग मेकर्स. एंड लेटर ऑन जब बलबन आएगा, बलबन फॉलोज द पॉलिसी ऑफ आयरन एंड ब्लड, जहां पे ही ट्राइड टू इंश्योर दैट व्हाटएवर इज कमिंग इन हिज वे, इन ऑर्डर टू इंश्योर हिज ओन अथॉरिटी, ही विल क्रश एवरीथिंग. एंड दैट्स व्हाई द फर्स्ट थिंग दैट वाज द तुर्कान ए चहलगनी. सो ग्रेजुअली, इवन बिफोर टेकिंग assumption, because he was initially he was acting as a regent of Nasir Shah, and eventually then there was assumption of the throne after Nasir Shah 1265 के around, and then till 1288 around he ruled. So initially as a regent and then as a sovereign ruler. Clear? Next is the Ikta system. Now this is the administrative system. The Ikta is basically a parcel of land that is provided. Now ऐसा नहीं कि एक बहुत छोटा land, means a type of province which is being provided as a individual by designating him as a Iktadar or the provincial governor. उसके end पे responsibility क्या है? To ensure the collection of the revenue from that particular Ikta territory. So that is the Ikta. So below Sultanate there is Ikta. Below Ikta there are Shikhs. So Shikhs used to be the presented district. तो वो इक्ताज के बाद there are Shikhs and headed by Shikhdars, right? So Shikh or Shikhdars were another set of authority. Next is the Khalisa land. Now Khalisa land during the time period of Delhi Sultanate and even the Mughal rule, you will see this term Khalisa land. This was the crown's land. Means the revenue from this particular region is going to directly go in the crown's treasury. तो इसीलिए gradually what different rulers will try to do in order to boost up the collection in their treasury, they will try to increase Khalisa land. अब जब आप Khalisa land बढ़ाओगे at cost of what you are increasing Khalisa land? At the cost of the Jagirdars या Iktadars. जब on the cost of Jagirdars or Iktadars, if you are increasing this, that means now the Jagirs which are going to be assigned, that are going to be reduced. और जब वो reduce होंगी, जागीरदार इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं देंगे अफेयर्स में, और जब जागीरदार इंटरेस्ट नहीं ले रहे हैं अफेयर्स में, इवेंचुअली क्या होगा? जागीरदारी देयर विल बी, बट एस्पायरिंग जागीरदार तो ज्यादा है ना, लोग चाह रहे हैं कि हमें और जमीन मिले, बट अल्टीमेटली हो क्या रहा है? व्हाट किंग इज डूइंग? किंग इज इंक्रीजिंग द खलीसा लैंड in order to appropriate more and more revenue. और ये जरूरत कब ज्यादा पड़ेगी? जब किंग को लड़ाई करने जाना है या राजा को लड़ाई करने जाना है, because for that there will be more revenue needed and that's why more territory will be taken as the Khalisa land. And this entire situation is going to create a situation of Jagirdari crisis. So जागीरदारी क्राइसिस क्यों? क्योंकि खलीसा लैंड आप बढ़ा रहे हो, नए इक्ताज या नए जागीर्स आ नहीं रहे हैं, तो उस सिचुएशन में क्या होगा? एग्जिस्टिंग जागीर्स को आप बाइफरकेट, ट्राइफरकेट, मल्टीपल पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करोगे और छोटे छोटे जागीरदार्स को दोगे. नाउ दे विल नॉट बी सेटिस्फाइड विद द स्मॉल पार्सल ऑफ लैंड. Next is the Inam, Milk or Madad-e-Maash. So this is basically the type of territories which are given to the scholars, to the poets, to the different Sufi saints as a type of charitable grants. So जैसे ब्रह्मदेय या अग्रहर लैंड है या फिर पलेच चंदम फॉर द जैन इंस्टीट्यूशंस, सिमिलरली मदद-ए-माश या इनाम या मिल्क, दिस इज बेसिकली द टाइप ऑफ टैक्स फ्री लैंड ग्रांट्स टू द स्कॉलर, सूफी एंड द इंस्टीट्यूशंस. मेनली ये चैरिटेबल टास्क कौन परफॉर्म करता है? हु वांट टू सीक मोर ऑफ देयर लेजिटिमेसी, मोर ऑफ द लेजिटिमेसी ऑफ उलेमा? इट वाज फिरोज शाह तुगलक. So during the reign of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, you will see that there was a rise of more Shariat wala laws, या फिर more ulemas related laws. Next is the Zil-e-Ilahi. Zil means the shadow. So it is the shadow of God. नियबत एक खुदाई, नियबत means the deputy, और बेसिकली एक तरीके का जो नाइब होता है ना, डेप्यूटी, दैट इज द नियबत. सो जिल-ए-इलाही शैडो ऑफ गॉड या नियबत खुदाई, बेसिकली द डेप्यूटी ऑफ गॉड. दिस इज द टाइटल दैट रूलर यूज्ड टू टेक. ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या था? टू शो देमसेल्फ एज दैट दे आर रिलेटेड टू गॉड. जैसे हमने इवन इन द कुशान रूल वी हैड सीन दैट देवपुत्र ड्यूरिंग डिफरेंट अदर रीजन्स हम लोगों ने देखा दैट दे वर टेकिंग एंड अज्यूमिंग द टाइटल ऑफ गॉड. And with the God, what they are trying to ensure? They are trying to ensure their legitimacy, that they are either related to God or they are being granted by the sacred permission by the God, right? So niyabat-e khudai, the shadow or the deputy of God. Then there is sajda, means prostration in front of the king, means the king is the supreme, or king or sultan is the supreme authority. Paibos means the kissing the feet of sultan, means again ensuring your submission in front of that particular individual. बाद में ड्यूरिंग द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ द मुगल रूल यू विल सी अनदर प्रैक्टिस विच इज नोन एज चहर तस्लीम. चहर तस्लीम यूज्ड टू बी द सिस्टम दैट यू सी ना कि देयर इज अ रूलर कम्स एंड देन फ्रॉम द जमीन, मतलब फ्रॉम द लैंड, द इंटायर हैंड गोज लाइक दिस in order to do the sajda. मतलब it's not like कि just prostration in front of the king, it is like completely using your hand completely. So this is known as the chahar taslim. So chahar taslim, sajda paibos. देखो sajda paibos पता होता है, chahar taslim is not that widely recognized term, जो हम generally नहीं पढ़े होते, ठीक है? तो have an idea about that. Next is barid system. Barid is the intelligence system, ठीक है? So during the Delhi Sultanate also, during the Mughal rule also, the barid or the intelligence system that was there. So it is a type of spy network, ठीक है? And Barid Mumalik was the official appointed in order to head this particular department. Barid Mumalik. Next is Shik. So another administrative unit like the district. So Shik headed by the Shikdars, and then Shik में जो military or the law and order authorities and that particular authority was being headed by the फौजदार्स. ठीक है. So कई बार ये दोनों authority same individual perform करता था, and sometime different peoples are placed for the एक revenue collection के लिए और दूसरा law and order maintenance के लिए. ठीक है. Next is Pargana. Further division, so roughly at the town level, so there is the sub district or the town level, Pargana sub district. ठीक है. Amil used to be the authority of the revenue official in that. Then Khots, Mukaddams, Chaudhries, these are the village headmen during the time period of the Delhi Sultanate. So Khot, Mukaddams, Chaudhries, these are the individuals. Now see, agar ye local level par, if these are strong, that means the ruler will have to remain dependent on these individuals in order to gain more and more legitimacy, more and more revenue collection. Agar ye log support karenge Raja ko, that means Raja is going to have more power. So that's why what Alauddin Khilji tried to curtail their power so that it will be only him who will be supreme of all the individual. Then there is Shariat. Shariat means the Islamic law, and then there is Zabawat. Zabawat is basically the secular laws that were being laid by Sultan. So Shariat will be the Islamic set of laws, and Zabawat is basically the secular laws for the common maintenance that the ruler is going to lay. Generally these were also being influenced by the religious aspect, but these are the secular aspect. Next is the revenue and the taxation terms. Now in the revenue terms there is kharaj. खर्च क्या है, जो भाग हुआ करता था वहां पे इन द एंशिएंट टाइम पीरियड. व्हाट वाज भाग? भाग वाज द प्रपोर्शन ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर जो प्रोड्यूस हुआ है वो. ठीक है. एंड दैट यू हैव टू गिव इट टू स्टेट. सो खर्च इज आल्सो द लैंड बेस्ड टैक्स, ईदर 1/3 और हाफ. एंड ग्रेजुअली ज्यादा फर्टाइल रीजन, ज्यादा यहां पर लैंड रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन, राइट, एंड ज्यादा ही लैंड रेवेन्यू. सो अलाउद्दीन खिलजी ने 50% के आसपास कर दिया था, एंड दैट गॉट कंटिन्यूड रफली टू द मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक ऑल्सो. नेक्स्ट इज जिजिया. इट इज द पोल टैक्स, एक तरीके का प्रोटेक्शन टैक्स था, एंड इट इज लेड ऑन हुम? द नॉन मुस्लिम्स हु वर द जिम्मीज और धिम्मीज, जिनको प्रोटेक्शन प्रोवाइड करने के लिए इन द इस्लामिक स्टेट्स दैट पर्टिकुलर टैक्स वाज बीइंग टेकन, जिजिया. Now there are some rulers जैसे अकबर abolished this particular system in his rule, but then there are certain rulers जैसे in the Delhi Sultanate there was फिरोज शाह तुगलक, जिसने वापस लेकर आया जिजिया को, अगेन इन ऑर्डर टू इम्प्रेस द उलेमास, राइट. तो ये आपको ध्यान रखना है. जैसे इवन औरंगजेब ऑल्सो. ठीक है. देन देयर इज ज़कात. ज़कात इज बेसिकली अ टाइप ऑफ वेल्थ टैक्स. स्टिल इट इज बीइंग प्रेडोमिनेंटली अप्लाइड इन द रीजन्स ऑफ द यूएई एंड सऊदी अरेबिया. ठीक है. तो इस्लामिक कंट्रीज में अभी भी अप्लाई होता है. दिस इज द वेल्थ टैक्स. सपोज करो यू आर पजेसिंग लेट्स से गोल्ड, आपने लेट्स से यू हैव 100 करोड़ ऑफ गोल्ड, तो उसका कुछ प्रपोर्शन यू हैव टू गिव द टैक्स. फॉर व्हाट? फॉर द रिलीजियस एक्टिविटीज, बट इट इज अ वेल्थ टैक्स that is considered voluntary in nature, but yes, it is insured. The collection of this is insured, right? Then there is khums. Khums is basically the war booty. Means basically you are going for a war, you get a lot of war related things that you have got after victory, and eventually it used to be previously 1/5 जाता था स्टेट ट्रेजरी में, 4/5 used to be distributed among those people who are going and who are winning this particular war. But then Alauddin Khilji reversed it. Alauddin Khilji ने बोला 4/5 रेवेन्यू में आएगा स्टेट के, 1/5 में आप लोग देखो. So it was like roughly 4/5 to the state that was being done by Alauddin Khilji. Next is Ghari. Ghari is basically based upon Ghar, so it is a type of property tax, Ghari. Then there is charai. Charai is basically a type of grazing tax. If you are utilizing the state's land in order to get the your different type of जो भी आपके पास animals हैं for grazing of them, so eventually you have to provide the grazing tax or the charai tax. Then there is a hake sharb. So जो वहाँ पे हम एरियम के लिए यूज करते थे, this is the same irrigation type of tax that is being utilized, and irrigation में main focus was being provided by the Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq led the construction of the canal on the Yamuna river, right? So hake sharb was associated with the Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Next is the Takkavi loan, Takkavi or Sondhar loan. So this is the loan for the agricultural development. So for the benefit of agriculture, some advances were being provided to the people so that they can take these advances, and eventually based upon these advances, they can ensure the डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर. बट ये लाया अच्छे ऑब्जेक्टिव से था, बट इवेंचुअली जो इंटायर जो तक्कवी सौंदर्य लोन वाला कॉन्सेप्ट था, या फिर देन दीवाने को ही या दीवाने अमीर को ही बनाने का जो ऑब्जेक्टिव था, it went towards the corruption gradually. एक आइडिया नोबल था, बट देन मेनली जो ऑफिशियल्स थे उन्होंने वो उतना अच्छे से इंप्लीमेंट नहीं किया, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ विच द मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द एक्सपेरिमेंट्स ऑफ द मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक गॉट फेल्ड. सो दिस वाज आल्सो वन ऑफ द experiment of the Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Then military and the administrative reforms. There is Dagh. Dagh is branding of horse. Now see, horses may, if they are of the same color, you will not be very easily able to distinguish between them, and that's why what generally these iqtadars used to do. Iqtadars क्या करते थे, अब 4-5 ने अपना nexus बना लिया. Each one is having the obligation to maintain 1000 horse. अब उन्होंने क्या किया, दे हैव परचेस्ड इन टोटल 2000 हॉर्सेस. उन्होंने बोला कभी भी सुल्तान अगर इंस्पेक्शन के लिए आएंगे, दे कैन गो टू 1 or 2 एट मैक्स. सो व्हाट वी कैन डू, वी कैन इंश्योर अ पूल ऑफ 200 हॉर्सेस, एंड आउट ऑफ दैट, और 2000 हॉर्सेस अगर 1000 का ऑब्लिगेशन है तो, एंड दिस 1000 इवेंचुअली टर्न बाय टर्न सबके पास जाता रहेगा, क्योंकि राजा को तो पता ही नहीं चलेगा ना कौन सा हॉर्स किसके पास था, बिकॉज देयर इज नो सच सेट ऑफ रजिस्टर. Then what they have started doing, they started doing the branding of horses. Means एक seal लगाई जाएगी उस पे, and then it will be mentioned that it is attached to which particular इक्तादार या ruler. तो उससे क्या रहेगा, uniqueness of the horses can be maintained. So it is the type of Aadhaar card for the horses, right? So this is the Dagh. And Chehra or the Huliya system is for the individual. So there are Sipahis. अब राजा को तो नहीं पता ना कितने सिपाही और क्या उनका एग्जैक्ट बायोमेट्रिक अटेंडेंस है, वेदर दे आर एक्चुअली कमिंग फॉर द सर्विसेज, वेदर दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग द सर्विस और नॉट, राइट. सो हुलिया सिस्टम में इट इज द टाइप ऑफ बायोमेट्रिक और द फिजिकल डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल. ठीक है, हाइट क्या है, कलर क्या है, ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर बीइंग mentioned in this particular descriptive roles. So Diwan-e-Ariz used to be the department which is taking care of all these military related obligation, that was maintaining these type of registers. And later on in the Mughal period, Mir Bakshi used to be the authority. So Mughal period में ये authority आ गई Mir Bakshi के पास, who was the entire head of the military department. Then Diwan-e-Ars, the military department headed by Ariz-e-Mumalik या Ariz-e-Mamalik. This was created during the time period of Balban, further formalized during the time period of Alauddin Khilji. Next is Hashme-Kalb. So Hashme-Kalb was basically a standing army for the and by the Sultan. मतलब generally feudal system है, feudal system में it is the iqtadars who are providing the military support to the ruler, right? But then the ruler also should be having its own forces to some extent, right? So this is the central standing army maintained by Sultan. So दो तरीके की armies हैं. One army are the central standing army by the king itself, and then other set of army is by the iqtadar. So iqtadars will have their own forces loyal to iqtadars, but since iqtadar is attached to the sultan, iqtadar is providing the revenue to sultan, iqtadar is acknowledging the sovereignty of sultan, and that's why iqtadar is providing the military support also. And in return what iqtadar is getting? Their land revenue, right? जिस दिन सुल्तान को लगेगा इक्तदार इज नॉट डूइंग गुड, सुल्तान विल रिमूव इक्तदार, राइट, अनदर न्यू इक्तदार विल बी प्लेस्ड, राइट. सो दिस इज द सिचुएशन. देन देयर इज दीवान-ए-विजारत. दीवान-ए-विजारत हेडेड बाय वजीर. वजीर यूज्ड टू बी द finance minister. He used to be mainly the finance minister. Sometime the entire administration का head भी apart from sultan, but then mainly the finance minister, ठीक है, headed by wazir. Then Diwan-e-Insha. This is the department for the royal correspondence. Next is the Diwan-e-Rasalat. This is the department for the justice also. This is the department for the foreign correspondence also, and this is the department with respect to the religious aspects also. And what was the authority in this? So this was headed by Sadar-us-Sudar or the chief Qazi, right, or Qazi-e-Mumalik. So Diwan-e-Rasalat, foreign affairs, religious affairs, ठीक है, and even the justice वाला aspect. See, at the apex of this justice hierarchy it is sultan. Apex पे सुल्तान है, जो सुल्तान कहेगा वही न्याय होगा. But then below sultan there are different type of distinguished authorities, and one of the authority was the Sadar-us-Sudar, who was heading the Diwan-e-Rasalat. ठीक है, तो religious aspect भी, क्योंकि जो judiciary है that is also being done by the Shariat. So that is also being done by this particular authority, Sadar-us-Sudar or Qazi-e-Mumalik, and even the foreign affairs. Now, certain terms with respect to the Alauddin Khilji's market reform, because Alauddin Khilji prominently associated with the market reforms, right? So, Shahanai Mandi was the official who was in charge of that particular Mandi. So, right now, if you see that there is Minister for the Consumer Affairs, yeah, Minister for the Commerce and Industry, right? So, Shahanai Mandi was the market superintendent. Then there is a ministry also. So, there is a Diwan-e-Riyasat. This is the department, or this is a type of ministry for the market. This is ministry for the market and commerce. Diwan-e-Musht-Kharaj. Musht-Kharaj is basically the arrear. जैसे if I ask you that you have an obligation to pay 1000 rupees, ठीक है, आपने क्या किया, आपने 500 रुपए पे किया, you have paid 500. 500 is arrear, you said I'll give you later. बट देन अब सुल्तान को याद नहीं रहेगा ना कि भाई किससे कितना पैसा और लेना है, इसने 4 साल पहले इतना पैसा नहीं दिया था. सो बेसिकली देयर इज अ डिपार्टमेंट क्रिएटेड इन ऑर्डर टू रिकवर द एरियर्स फ्रॉम द नोबल्स एंड द अदर अथॉरिटीज, राइट. सो जो इकट्ठा पैसा है, जो पेंडिंग है, पिछला बकाया है, दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग के लिए देन इज दीवाने मुश्त खराज. ठीक है. सो Kharaj is the revenue from that particular land, and Musht Kharaj is the pendency of that particular revenue, जो बचा हुआ है वो. Then Banjaras, they were a type of the traders or itinerant traders, or those people who are the transporting grains. So they are the people who are moving the grains from the place या फिर जहाँ से production हो रहा है, from the खेत to the mandi. ठीक है. So these are the Banjaras. Sorry. हाँ, कई बार 3 बोलते हैं, कई बार 4 बोलते हैं. देर आर, हाँ, कभी 3 बोलते हैं, कभी 4 बोलते हैं. दे सेड कि भाई देखो, एक मार्केट जनरल गुड्स के लिए था, एक था स्लेव्स एंड अदर थिंग्स लाइक द हॉर्सेस, स्लेव्स एंड अदर के लिए, एक था जो लग्जरी गुड्स वगैरह के लिए था, एंड समटाइम अनदर सेट ऑफ मार्केट वाज देयर व्हिच वाज फॉर, नहीं, ग्रेन्स के लिए भी था. सो समटाइम दिस पर्टिकुलर 2 मार्केट, जो लग्जरीज के लिए और जो अदर पोजेशंस लाइक द स्लेव्स एंड ऑल के लिए था, कई बार दोनों को मिला देते, कई बार दोनों को अलग रखते हैं. सो क्लॉथ मार्केट एंड ऑल, सो 3 or 4 यू कैन. तो डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ मार्केट्स पर एस्टेब्लिश. ठीक है. नाउ ओके, नाउ तुगलक के इनोवेशन, इसमें मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक, व्हाट टाइप ऑफ इनोवेशंस ही हैड डन? फर्स्ट इज टोकन करेंसी, मींस इक्वेटिंग द ब्रॉन्ज करेंसी और द कॉपर करेंसी टू द सिल्वर, और पेगिंग देम विद द सिल्वर वैल्यू. अब एक्चुअल इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू नहीं है, बट देन यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग कि भाई मैं आरबीआई हूं और मैं आपको इतने रुपए अदा करने का वचन करता हूं. यू हैव सेट दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग, एंड इवेंचुअली हुआ क्या उस वजह से कि नाउ यू हैव द ऑब्लिगेशन टू पे. बट सपोज करो इफ एनीबडी इज ब्रिंगिंग यू द काउंटरफिटेड कॉइन, आपने अपने घर में ही कॉइन बना लिए और अब आप राजा के पास लेकर आ रहे हो, सुल्तान के पास ला रहे हो, बोल रहे हो देखो मेरे पास तो इतने कॉइन है. यू सेड दैट यू आर गोइंग टू रिप्लेस इट विद द सिल्वर, नाउ रिप्लेस इट विद द सिल्वर. सो इवेंचुअली एंटायर स्टेट ट्रेजरी गॉट एम्प्टीड बिकॉज उसमें कोई चेक्स एंड बैलेंस नहीं बनाए थे ना. अब नोट्स में भी जस्ट अज्यूम करो इफ देयर आर नो सच काउंटरफिट वाला फीचर्स, सो इवेंचुअली अ लॉट ऑफ ब्लैक मनी, रिकॉल धुरंधर, राइट. सो बेसिकली अगर उस सिचुएशन में अगर इतना ज्यादा पैसा आ जाएगा, एंड इवेंचुअली यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू रिकॉग्नाइज, होगा क्या, इवन इंटायर इकोनॉमी गेट कोलैप्स्ड, राइट. और इसीलिए हम इतने ज्यादा फीचर्स रखते हैं. स्टिल दिस पर्टिकुलर काउंटरफिटिंग इज वन ऑफ द मेजर इशू, एंड दैट्स व्हाई द ऑल द थिंग्स हैज टू बी डन इफ यू आर ब्रिंगिंग एनी टोकन करेंसी. टोकन करेंसी हर वो करेंसी जिसका एक्चुअल वैल्यू, उसके मतलब जो उसका जो फेस वैल्यू है, दैट इज नॉट इक्वल टू द इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू. इस 500 रुपीज के नोट का फेस वैल्यू एंड इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू सेम है? नहीं, इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू सेम नहीं है ना. अगर सपोज करो इफ दैट इज द 500 रुपीज का सिल्वर, और वो अगर 500 रुपीज के इक्विवेलेंट होता तो इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू इक्वल टू द फेस वैल्यू. बट नाउ इट इज नोट, मे बी 5 रुपीज इज द प्रोडक्शन प्राइस, बट देन यू आर, मतलब इट इज गिविंग यू द लाइसेंस टू हैव 500 रुपीज. So that's why it is different, and that is the token currency. तो presently भी जो currency होती है, that is a type of token currency only, right? Then Diwan-e Kohi, it is the agricultural department by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Then Diwan-e Shifa or Darul Shifa, this was by the Firoz Shah Tughlaq. It is a type of medical department or type of state hospital. So Darul Shifa या Diwan-e Shifa, that is the medical type of department. Diwan-e Khairat, Khairat is for those people who were not able to afford मतलब things for themselves, right? So the charity type of department, so poor welfare के लिए. And Diwan-e Bandagan for the slave welfare. So Diwan-e Bandagan for the slave related welfare. Now there is also a term known as Nisba. What is Nisba? Nisba is basically a type of association with a region. जैसे there are certain persons name, आप देखते हो ना, उनके नाम में लिखा है ईरानी, बगदादी, देन मे बी मतलब इसी और रीजन से, जैसे फारसी, अब कोई रीजन से एसोसिएट करके इफ देयर इज एनी नेम एसोसिएटेड, दैट इज द निस्बा, दैट गिव्स द आइडेंटिटी एंड दैट इज गिविंग द ओरिजिन. सो जनरली दिस यूज्ड टू बी एक्टिंग एज अ सफिक्स टाइटल, एक प्रीफिक्स नहीं, सफिक्स टाइटल. जैसे एक इंडिविजुअल है, ही बिलोंग टू दैट पर्टिकुलर रीजन, नाम कुछ और है, उसके नाम के आगे लगा दिया इराकी या बगदादी. सो दैट बिकेम द निस्बा ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल. हाँ नहीं, मतलब नहीं, निस्बा बेसिकली यूज्ड टू बी द टाइटल. अब आप उस राइमिंग में मत जाओ. बेसिकली इट यूज्ड टू बी द शोइंग द एंटिटी, शोइंग द एंटिटी और ओरिजिन. ठीक है, सो ओरिजिन. नेक्स्ट इज द सूफी टर्म्स. ठीक है, तो अगेन एसोसिएटेड विद द इस्लामिक रूल एंड ड्यूरिंग द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ दिल्ली सल्तनत देयर वाज इमर्जेंस ऑफ द सूफिज्म. एक तरफ भक्ति मूवमेंट चल रहा है, दूसरी तरफ सूफिज्म, एंड बोथ वर कन्वर्जिंग आल्सो एंड डाइवर्जिंग आल्सो एट मेनी पॉइंट्स. सो सम टर्म्स विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द सूफी एस्पेक्ट. सो देयर इज तसव्वुफ. सो दिस इज द टर्म यूटिलाइज्ड फॉर द सूफिज्म itself. So tasawwuf is the term for the Sufism. Next is Tawheed. Now this is the fundamental doctrine of Islam which says that there is only one God. And that it's not the unity of God कि सारे God एक ही हैं, नहीं. It is that there is only one and unique God and you as an individual are separate from God. आप और God same नहीं हो. You are separate. God is the supreme almighty. He is the supreme entity. So that is the doctrine of Tawheed. So it is a fundamentalistic doctrine. And there is a Wahadat al-Wajud. Wahadat al-Wajud is the unity of being. Means जो God है that is one and you are a part of God. So आत्मा और ब्रह्म का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, that Sufism have interpreted this particular concept through the Wahadat al-Wujud. ठीक है, so unity of being means कि you as an individual, your soul as an individual soul is equal to or same as the Almighty soul, या God का जो soul है वही है. So there is only one being. ठीक है, and वही अकेला reality है. Now, there is a difference between these two. It is fundamentalistic. It says that there is only one God, one and only God, which is Allah. Right? And here it is saying that the unity of being. It also says that there is one God, but you are also part of that particular God. और इसको आप different name से जान सकते हो. Right? So there is a difference. This is a Sufi doctrine. Now, Ishq-e-Hakiki is basically love towards that particular divinity. So Ishq-e-Hakiki is the love towards the divine God. Next is fana. Fana means relinquishing ourself. ठीक है, fana हो जाना means self annihilation. ठीक है, कि आप अपना entity नहीं, you just merge with the Almighty. Next is baka. After that, what is going to be remainder? That is the baka. Means जो बचा है, जो आखिरी में बचेगा, that is the baka. That is the eternal subsistence. Right? Then Peer Muridi, it is a master disciple tradition, which is a very important thing. Then there are different traditions, different type of sect within that. There is a Chishtiya order, there is, and these are known by the terms silsila, right? So silsila mein there is a master and then his disciples were associated with that particular silsila. ठीक है, now Sama used to be the musical congregation, musical gathering, जहाँ पे they are used to be the performance of कवालीs. कवाली are basically utilized in order to call that particular god out कि भाई देखो, this is the type of religious type of chanting towards God. Dakshini is used for the Indo-Islamic language which is developed in the Deccan region. So Dakshini language, so that is basically the precursor to Urdu. बाद में उर्दू बनता है यहाँ से. ठीक है, देन नेक्स्ट इज द खनका. खनका इज बेसिकली द हॉस्पाइस और बेसिकली दैट पर्टिकुलर प्लेस जहां पे सूफी सेंट एंड अलोंग विथ हिज डिसाइपल आर रिसाइडिंग एंड दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग इज नोन एज खनका. सो देयर आर वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट स्टोरीज जैसे निजामुद्दीन औलिया रिगार्डिंग द सूफी सेंट निजामुद्दीन औलिया एंड देयर वाज घियासुद्दीन तुगलक. घियासुद्दीन तुगलक वाज द फाउंडर ऑफ तुगलक डायनेस्टी. सो देयर इज अ वेरी फेमस स्टोरी रिगार्डिंग दैट when Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was coming from the region of Bengal towards Delhi, he was not exactly threatened, but he was threatened by the aura of your Nizamuddin Aulia. So he thought कि भाई देखो, अगर ये इंडिविजुअल को इतना ज्यादा फॉलोइंग मिलेगा, देन इवेंचुअली द पीपल आर नॉट गोइंग टू मतलब थिंक कि भाई एक रूलर सुप्रीम है और एक सूफी सेंट मुझसे ज्यादा अगर पावर रख रहा है, देन इट इज थ्रेटनिंग फॉर मी एंड दैट्स व्हाई ही गेव थ्रेट टू द निजामुद्दीन औलिया. And Nizamuddin Aulia wrote a couplet or said a couplet regarding the Dilli Dur Ast, means अभी भी दिल्ली दूर है, and eventually that was a type of thing जो कि उसके लिए एक शराब की तरह बना, and eventually he was never able to return to this particular region of Delhi. ठीक है, so Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq की डेथ होती है when he was about to come to Delhi by the fall of that particular pavilion on his head and he died. So ऐसा बोला जाता है कि भाई मतलब it was the divine words that were from the mouth of the Nizamuddin Aulia. ठीक है. So Khanka, and why that particular conflict got initiated, because जो Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq है, he was getting the construction of Tughlaqabad as a separate capital, and simultaneously in the Khanka of the Nizamuddin Aulia there is a water reservoir which is being constructed. So सारे लेबर्स को वहां से उठा के तुगलकाबाद में लगा दिया जाता है कि now you are doing the construction of this particular तुगलकाबाद only, यहाँ पे कोई construction नहीं होगा. So there was a conflict going on between these two individuals, right? So question कैसे आएगा? Not obviously about this story but about the contemporaries, कि contemporaries कौन थे. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज द जियारत. जियारत इज बेसिकली द पिलग्रिमेज, जैसे आप जाते हो दर्शन के लिए, सिमिलरली ऑन द सूफी टोम और सूफी श्राइन्स इट इज द जियारत, राइट. नेक्स्ट इज उर्स विच इज द एनुअल गैदरिंग विच इज सेलिब्रेटिंग द डेथ एनिवर्सरी ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर सूफी सेंट. जिक्र इज द रिमेंबरेंस, आप बोलते हो जिक्र कर रहे हैं किसी का, मीन्स याद कर रहे हो किसी को, एंड तरीका इज बेसिकली द पाथ. सो दीज आर द टर्म्स एसोसिएटेड विद द सूफी. Next is the architecture. Arabesque is basically used to depict the in the form of like calligraphic वाले aspect में, या in the form of let's say there is like इस तरीके से कोई petals, there is a twig, there are petals, then from here there is another thing started, यहाँ से अलग, so you will be not able to see that from where it is starting, from where it is getting end. And generally this is to draw on the architectural aspect in order to ensure its comparatively finesse or comparatively more appealing look, right? So it is the arabesque. Next is the true arc and dome. So generally आपने जो temples में देखते हो that is mainly the corbelling. So previously there used to be corbelling. जैसे इस तरीके का अगर beams and lintels है, so there used to be this type of structure ना जो इसे hold करके रखता है. So this is not the true arc. True arc is जहाँ पे the stones or the bricks are utilized like this and they are being attached to a main जो यहाँ पे keystone है और इस तरीके से, so that through the arrangement of different stones you can create the larger structure. एक सिंगल स्टोन से आपको इतना बड़ा स्ट्रक्चर कार्व आउट करना विल बी डिफिकल्ट, बट थ्रू द arcs and the dome construction this particular thing can be comparatively easy. So this was developed during the time period of Delhi Sultanate. First true arc is considered to be the tomb of Balban, true arc, and first true dome is considered to be the Alai Darwaza. Alai Darwaza is considered a first true dome. ठीक है. Next is arcuate style. So arcuate style में there are arch, dome. That is the Islamic innovation that was incorporated in the Indian architecture, right? So this is the arcuate. And what was the indigenous type of style that was being used is a trabete style. Trabete में there is a beams and lintel type of structure, right? So इस तरीके का structure रहेगा, beams and lintel पे based, right? Then spolia. Spolia is basically the term used for the utilization of spoils. जैसे initially there were 2.5 दिन का झोपड़ा that was developed, that is also utilizing the Jain temple के spoils को use कर रहा है. Even in the Quwwatul Islam mosque they were also utilizing the spoils of the temples. So the destruction of temples or destruction of the existing architecture and utilizing the material from that is known by the term spolia. ठीक है, तो spolia is used for that. Then the corbelling. Corbelling is the technique of using the overlapping stones. So basically जो मैंने अभी draw करके दिखाया like this, like there is a horizontal and this, and then this type of thing which is shown for मतलब एक तरीके का सपोर्ट, एंड समटाइम इट इज कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम हियर ऑल्सो. सो आप देखा होगा ना कि कुछ तरीके के आप देखते हो स्ट्रक्चर वेयर समथिंग इज कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम दैट पर्टिकुलर आर्किटेक्चर एंड दैट इज गिविंग लुक. दैट इज नॉट आर्क, दैट इज द corbellings, right? Next is the buttered walls. So buttered walls were used, the term used for the तुगलक टाइप ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर, जहां पे लार्ज स्टोन आर्किटेक्चर, जो बड़े बड़े स्टोन्स थे वो थोड़े से स्लांटेड रखे हुए दिखेंगे आपको इफ यू एवर विजिट टू दोस प्लेसेस जहां पे तुगलक के टोम्स हैं. And even in the region of Tughlaqabad fort you will observe that these are in the form of the battered rocks. A lot of things are not being carved out on that, the plain rocks, but then eventually they give the strength. क्योंकि ड्यूरिंग द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ द तुगलक रूल इट वॉज मोर फोकस्ड टुवर्ड्स द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द बिल्डिंग रादर देन द सर्टेन टाइप ऑफ डेकोरेटिव एलिमेंट्स. ठीक है. देन मेहराब. मेहराब इज द टर्म यूज्ड फॉर द मॉस्क वॉल. ठीक है. सो मेहराब इज यूज्ड फॉर द मॉस्क वॉल जहां पर विच इज द डायरेक्शन ऑफ प्रेयर. ठीक है. सो फॉर द प्रेयर रिलेटेड डायरेक्शन, सो मक्का का डायरेक्शन शो करता है, मीनार वी नो. ठीक है. किबला इज बेसिकली डायरेक्शन टुवर्ड्स मक्का, सो उस डायरेक्शन में मेहराब बनाया जाएगा. सो द मेहराब विल बी कंस्ट्रक्टेड एट दैट पर्टिकुलर प्लेस जहां पर देयर इज द किबला, मींस डायरेक्शन टुवर्ड्स द Makkah. Then there is Jali, calligraphy. Makarnas were basically not much utilized in India. So they are, जब आप dome को देखते हो नीचे से, sometimes there is honeycomb shape that is being available near the this particular type of जो आप डोम के नीचे वाला स्ट्रक्चर देखते हो. जनरली इट इज एम्प्टी इन इंडिया, बट देन इन सर्टेन प्लेसेस जो वेस्ट एशिया एंड अदर प्लेसेस पे आप देखोगे, सो देयर इज हनीकोम टाइप ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर, लाइक इस तरीके का हनीकोम जैसा स्ट्रक्चर दिखेगा आपको डोम के अंदर, एंड दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग इज नोन बाय द टर्म मकरनास. ठीक है, सो दिस इज ऑल्सो अनदर प्रोमिनेंट टर्म. Next is some literary sources. Now I don't think so कि we need, because यहाँ explanatory कुछ नहीं है. So just for your reference, जैसे there are some prominent personalities and then what are the prominent works. So just for your reference, just have an idea about that. We'll mainly talk about the concept. So again, some prominent personalities associated. See, from the perspective of keywords, they were not needed, but since we are covering it in the form of story and the comprehensive coverage, so just एक line लिखी है इनके बारे में देख लो, so at least you will be having the memorial recall. Historic resources. Now there are multiple type of historic resources. There is Tariq. Tariq is basically written as the court record of any individual, and then there is Tazkira. Tazkira is basically the biographical account of the saints. So this Tariq is basically about the ruler, which is the court sponsored biographies, and court sponsored biography means obviously now you are going to write good about that particular ruler, and Tazkira is basically the biographical account of the saints, scholars and the nobles. Then there is Rehla. Now famous Rehla is mainly associated with Ibn Battuta. So Rehla is basically a type of account which is the chronicles or the travelers account. Chronicles of the travelers, right? So these are the independent observations. जो travelers आते हैं, the term that is used for their accounts is the Rehla. Court chronicles are the basically the type of works that were done during that particular court. ठीक है. Next is the Mughals. कुछ चीजें तो सिमिलर कंटिन्यू होंगी विद द दिल्ली सल्तनत एंड सर्टेन टर्म्स गॉट चेंज. जैसे को पार्सिनरी ट्रेडिशन, वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस दिस दैट को पार्सिनरी में द वेल्थ इज डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड अमंग ऑल द सन इक्वली, एंड देन जो एबल होगा वो सारी जीत लेगा. मे बी लाइक देयर वाज दारा शिको वर्सेस औरंगजेब. ठीक है, तो इवेंचुअली औरंगजेब इमर्ज एट द विक्टोरियस, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस होता क्या था कि कई बार सक्सेशन वॉर्स होते थे और कई बार नहीं भी होते थे. Why sometime prevented? Because if there is a primogeniture tradition, primogeniture generally being utilized in the Hindu tradition, जहां पे the eldest son used to inherit everything. Yes or no? So उसमें क्या होगा, जो छोटे बच्चे हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं डिस्क्रिमिनेटेड फील करेंगे. को पार्सिनरी में ऑल ऑफ देम वर बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड विद सम थिंग्स, सबको छोटे छोटे राज्य दे दिए हैं. नाउ it's up to you whether you have to consolidate them or whether you have to divide it amongst yourself. ठीक है. Padshah is the title taken by emperor, so it is the supreme sovereign. Sultan used to be the deputy of the god or deputy of the Allah, right? But then Padshah used to be the absolute authority. He is not the representative. He might take the title, but he is not as the representative of the god. Then Mansab, जो हमने इक्ताज में यूज किया, that is similar as the Mansab. So basically Mansab is a type of Mansabdari is the type of system जहां पे the authorities were being appointed and they were being provided with the Mansab. Now that Mansab is a type of rank in the court of the ruler. Now there are two things, Zat and Sawar. Zat is basically deciding what is your rank, what is going to be your cavalry related maintenance ka requirement, and what is going to be your salary. And Sawar is basically the troops that you are exactly going to maintain. So Sawar is the maintenance of the troops. So there is Zat and Sawar, and this is basically based upon Mansab. Higher the Mansab, higher will be the responsibility. Lower the Mansab, lower will be your responsibility. Means lower Zat, and based upon that there is going to be the lower number of Sawars. ठीक है. Then do aspa see aspa, this was the Jahangir's innovation. क्योंकि अब स्टेट के पास रेवेन्यू तो कम है देने के लिए या पैसा कम है देने के लिए, तो what जहांगीर had done, जहांगीर ने बोला कि देखो जो आपका let's say you are till now you are maintaining 100 horses, now the obligation is of maintaining 200 horses. So same Zat rank पे now the Sawar related requirement got doubled. ठीक है. So same Zat rank पे without increasing Zat rank, because if you are going to increase Zat rank you have to increase the salary also. So same Zat rank पे now you have to maintain more Sawars. ठीक है. Now Jagir is basically the piece of land that is not hereditary in nature. UPSC ने पूछा था जमींदारी versus जागीरदारी में. So जागीरदार्स were being assigned with the Jagirs. Mansabdars were paid mainly in two forms. either in the form of जागीर्स, so जो जागीर में पे किए जाते थे, so that they can collect the land revenue over that, they were the जागीरदारी मनसबदार. Those who were paid in the cash, they were known as the नगदी मनसबदार्स. So जागीरदार्स were those particular मनसबदार्स or those particular rulers paid in जागीर्स. Now in the जागीर्स also there is वतन जागीर. So वतन जागीर was the type of hereditary जागीर्स mainly recognized for the Rajput rulers. Means they are hereditarily controlling this particular land for मतलब मोर देन मेनी ईयर्स, एंड दैट्स व्हाई नाउ वी आर रिकॉग्नाइजिंग योर राइट. आप बस हमें ट्रिब्यूट देते रहो, वो जमीन आपकी ही है, आपके बाद आपके बेटे को जाएगी, उसके बाद उसके बेटे को जाएगी. वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू एनीथिंग विद दिस. Otherwise, other than that, जागीर is not hereditary in nature. जागीर is not hereditary. जमींदारी is hereditary. ठीक है, लैंड इन जमींदारी is hereditary. जागीरदारी क्राइसिस वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट कि शॉर्टेज ऑफ जागीर, ओवर एक्सप्लॉइटेशन हो गया पीजेंट का, एंड इवेंचुअली देयर वाज रिवोल्ट कि जागीरदार को जागीर नहीं मिल रही है उस वजह से. क्योंकि देयर इज मोर लैंड डाइवर्टेड टुवर्ड द खलीसा लैंड. सो स्टेट रेवेन्यू बढ़ाने के लिए खलीसा लैंड बढ़ाया, रेवेन्यू खलीसा लैंड का बढ़ा, बट इवेंचुअली दिस रिजल्टेड इन द जागीरदारी क्राइसिस. नेक्स्ट इज द सूबा. सूबा इज द प्रोविंस. सो किंगडम, एम्पायर, एम्पायर के नीचे देयर इज सूबा. सूबा बीइंग हेल्ड बाय द सूबादार. नाउ मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द टाइम पे सूबादार्स वर द मनसबदार्स और जागीरदार्स ओनली, कि वही जागीरदार या मनसबदार्स रहेंगे. सूबादार इज द अथॉरिटी. समटाइम दे आर आल्सो नोन एज द सिपा सालार्स. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है? लैंड रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट इवन दे वर हैविंग द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर द लॉ एंड ऑर्डर मेंटेनेंस ऑल्सो. समटाइम डिफरेंट अथॉरिटी, समटाइम द सेम अथॉरिटी. दीवान कुल, इट इज द हेड दीवान और द चीफ दीवान हु इज द फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर टाइप का इंडिविजुअल. सो इट इज द finance minister at the Mughal rule. Provincial diwan ya diwan is the term used for the diwan at the Suba level or diwan at the province level. ठीक है, so this is the diwan. मीर बख्शी is the head of the military. So वहां पर जो दीवान अरीस का जो काम था, यहां पर वो काम करेगा मीर बख्शी, right? And Dagh and Chehra that we had discussed already, that is being maintained by this individual. Then Sadar Sudar, जो entire religious aspects, entire foreign वाला aspect, foreign ministry वाला aspect, right? So जो वहां पर दीवान रिसालत used to be the department in the Delhi Sultanate, and that particular department was headed by Qazi Mumalik या फिर Sadar Sadar. Here also it is the head of the religious endowment and the judicial appointment, equivalent authority. Then there is Mir Saman. Mir Saman is basically for the provisions related authority. ठीक है, so it is head of the imperial household and the कारखानास. कारखानास are basically the type of workshops, right? फौजदार, district level पर law and order का official, and then there is अमल गुजार और अमिल्स. They are at the district level revenue officials. Who is कोतवाल? कोतवाल इज बेसिकली जो आज आपके टाउन रिलेटेड ऑफिशियल्स होते हैं, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर ऑफिशियल्स, दैट इज कोतवाल. सो अर्बन पुलिस ऑफिसर, दैट इज कोतवाल. नेक्स्ट इज मुतासिब. सो मुतासिब आर बेसिकली द ऑफिशियल्स जो कि मोरल कंडक्ट, लाइक if the governance is going on as per the Islamic law, whether morally those particular things are according to Islamic law, so those particular things are being held by the official known as mutasib. ठीक है. Next is Qazi, द जुडिशियल ऑफिसर, जो कि शरिया को इंप्लीमेंट करने के लिए उसके लिए हेल्प करता है. देन देयर इज मीर आतिश. नाउ आतिशबाजी, यू नो दैट द फायर वर्क्स, राइट? सो मीर आतिश इज द हेड ऑफ आर्टिलरी. सो जो पूरा आर्टिलरी डिपार्टमेंट है, दैट इज हेडेड बाय मीर आतिश. बरीद, द सिमिलर एज द दिल्ली सल्तनत. फरमान. नाउ देयर आर टू टर्म्स, फरमान एंड निशान. फरमान इज बीइंग issued by the highest level authority, and nishan order issued by the प्रिंसेस एंड द नोबल्स. सो जो नोबल्स या प्रिंसेस मतलब सबऑर्डिनेट अथॉरिटी जब इशू करता है, दैट इज निशान. फरमान बीइंग इशूड बाय द हाईएस्ट अथॉरिटी. सो फारूक सियार का जो था, दैट वाज द फरमान ऑफ 1717, जहां पे वो टैक्स रिलेटेड राइट्स प्रोवाइड करता है टू द ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, राइट? सो दैट इज द फरमान. वो जो यहां पर पादशाह जो टर्म यूज किया है, दैट इज द मतलब वो एक तरीके का सुप्रीम सॉवरेन इंडिविजुअल. जो आप बात कर रहे हैं इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ ईरान, दैट इज द रिलीजियस अथॉरिटी, रिलीजियसली सैक्रोसेंक्ट इंडिविजुअल. सो दैट इज अ डिफरेंट, वो बादशाह नहीं है. यहां पे गवर्नेंस है, अलग गवर्नेंस है. रिलीजियस डोमेन में ओवरऑल जो सुप्रीमेसी है, जैसे प्रेसिडेंट हो गया किसी कंट्री का, सो दैट पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑफ थिंग यू कैन, तो वो थियोक्रेसी टाइप ऑफ सिस्टम हो जाता है. हाँ, वो भी टर्म यूज कर सकते हो, राइट? नेक्स्ट देयर आर सम रेवेन्यू रिलेटेड टर्म्स, जैसे जब्त सिस्टम, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जब्त सिस्टम बाय अकबर, ठीक है? सो दिस गॉट inspired from the Sher Shah Suri, ठीक है, and this particular Todermal was the personality associated with the Sher Shah Suri's court also, and then Akbar's court also, and this was also known as the Sala system. So the Sala was 10 years average, and based upon that, based upon the yield of 10 year, you are going to identify that what is going to be the revenue for the state. Then Kankut. So Dah Sala, 10 साल, Dah means 10, Sala means years, Dah Sala means 10 years का average. Based upon that you are identifying the land revenue, observation based, right? Kankot system, Kankot is basically आप गए, आप एक ऑफिशियल हो, आप गए, यू हैव सीन द स्टैंडिंग क्रॉप, यू हैव आइडेंटिफाइड दैट हाउ मच माइट बी द क्रॉप, और उसके बेसिस पे ऑब्जर्व करके यू सेड कि भाई इतना पोर्शन आई वांट, मतलब आउट ऑफ दिस इफ इट इज 100 kg आई वांट 50 kg आउट ऑफ दिस. सो दैट इज द कानकुट. अनदर सिस्टम इज नसक. नसक इज रफ एस्टिमेट. नसक और कानकुट में डिफरेंस इज, नसक इज बेस्ड अपॉन द एवरेज. जैसे आपको लगा कि भाई इस जमीन से लास्ट 2-3 साल में आई हैव गॉट 50 kg का आउटपुट. So without even visiting that place, I said कि आप 50 kg भेज देना बस. That is your land revenue. In the Kankut, you went there, you physically observed, and then you have identified कि कितना revenue लगेगा. Next is the Batai system. Batai is basically बांटना between the person who is cultivating and the person who is collecting. So Batai is also known as the Galla Bakshi system. Now there are two prominent type of Batai. One may be the Khet Batai and another may be the Lang Batai. Khet Batai क्या होता है कि you have seen the खेत, you have found the standing crops, you have said demarcated कि भाई देखो इतने जगह का जो है ये राजा का है. आपने एक आइडेंटिफिकेशन बना दिया वहां पे. Assume कि there may be any type of natural disaster, या मे बी एनी टाइप ऑफ लेट्स से कोई तरीके के टिड्डे आके खा गए उस क्रॉप को, या मे बी गाय खा गई उस क्रॉप को. नाउ इफ इट इज इन योर डोमेन, आपकी वाली जगह से खाया तो भाई अब जितना बचा है वही आपको मिलेगा. सो दिस इज अ टाइप ऑफ मतलब बेस्ड अपॉन सर्टेन रिस्क, कि इसमें से निकलेगा कितना वो नहीं पता हमको, बट बटाई किसने किसकी की है, हमने खेत की. Another is the lung batai. Lung batai में what you have done, you have harvested, you have developed it in the form of stacks. अब यहाँ पे crops के stacks बने हुए हैं. Now after observing that, now you say कि भाई देखो इस stacks में से इतना राजा का portion है. So this is the difference between the खेत and the lung batai. ठीक है. Next is the खलीसा लैंड. वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट ऑलरेडी कि जो सॉवरेन का, जो किंग का खुद का लैंड है, मतलब जो रेवेन्यू आ रहा है वो डायरेक्टली स्टेट ट्रेजरी में जाएगा, नॉट टू एनी जागीरदार. जागीर लैंड जो जागीरदार को प्रोवाइड किया गया, वेयर ही हैज द लैंड रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन के राइट, नॉट द हेरिडिटरी राइट ओवर दैट पर्टिकुलर लैंड. जमींदार दे आर द हेरिडिटरी लैंडलॉर्ड्स, दे आर द हेरिडिटरी लैंडलॉर्ड जिसके लैंड राइट्स को भी रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहा है किंग. अल्टीमेटली इट इज सेड दैट किंग इज द अल्टीमेट कंट्रोलर ऑफ ऑल द लैंड, पोजेसर ऑफ ऑल लैंड, बट टू जमींदार से दिस द हेरिडिटरी लैंड राइट्स आर बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड. वो जनरेशन से वहां पर है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई जमींदार हैव द हेरिडिटरी राइट्स कलेक्शन. और हेरिडिटरी मतलब उसके बाद उसके बेटे के पास वो जमीन ट्रांसफर होगी. एंड दे हैव ऑल्सो द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ कलेक्शन ऑफ रेवेन्यू, बट द लैंड लॉ एंड ऑर्डर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी है. बट देन विद द जागीरदार देयर इज नो हेरिडिटरी राइट्स एसोसिएटेड विद देम. डी फैक्टो नहीं है, मे बी हो सकता है किसी कंडीशनल केस में अगर प्रोवाइड कर दें तो. देन देयर आर डिफरेंट पीजेंट्स. खुदकश्त आर दोस पर्टिकुलर पीजेंट जो अपने ही गांव में हु आर कल्टिवेटिंग द लैंड इन देयर ओन विलेज ओनली, दे हैव द लैंड टाइटल और द टाइटल राइट्स ओवर दैट पर्टिकुलर लैंड. पाहीकश्त आर दोस पर्टिकुलर पीजेंट्स जो किसी दूसरे गांव से, हु आर कमिंग फ्रॉम एनी अदर प्लेस कल्टिवेटिंग इन अदर पर्सन्स रीजन, मतलब दे डू नॉट हैव द लैंड राइट्स, उनके पास लैंड राइट्स नहीं, दे आर टाइप ऑफ टीनेंट farmers, right? So non-resident cultivators or migratory laborers. Raiyat or the Ryots was used, a term that is used for the peasants. So Raiyat, Ryot, later on the Ryotwari system, right? So they are the general term for the peasants. Now different type of land based upon the productivity. So there is Polaj. Polaj is the annually cultivated region जो सबसे ज्यादा fertile है, cultivated every year. Then Paroti, roughly fallow for few months and then eventually बाद में cultivation होगा उस पे. Then there is Chachar. Chachar you can assume by the char. So 3 से 4 साल तक that particular land is kept fallow and then later on there will be rise of fertility and eventually there will be production. And Banjar जो 4-5 साल से ज्यादा तक fallow पड़ा रहा है, that is the Banjar. ठीक है. Then coinage में there is the trimetallic system. So trimetallic system was developed 3 metal, मतलब different type of denominations. There may be gold, highest denomination, so that was moher. Then there is silver. So रुपया, रूपक हमने बात की थी एंशिएंट इंडिया में, रूपक रुपये का ठीक है. From there is a rupee and copper dam. So this was developed by the Sher Shah Suri, and Mughal Empire have also taken the same thing from the Sher Shah Suri. So the trade and economic network में a lot of things were taken from Sher Shah Suri directly. Then hundi used to be the a type of bills of exchange. ठीक है. तो आज जैसे होता है ना कि type of हवाला system. So that particular type of bill that is being given, and that bill if you give to another person at other place, and eventually you will get the set of money. So hundi was traditionally used as a bill of exchange. Karkhanas, workshops, dastaks used to be the trade permits. ठीक है. During the modern India also the dastaks were being provided to the British officials for the free trade or the free trade within the country or free trade within the region. नहीं, बार्टर नहीं, वो एक तरीके का बिल ऑफ एक्सचेंज, एक तरीके का चेक है. मतलब आप जिसको दोगे वो आपको पे करेगा. क्यों? क्योंकि उसका एक बैक साइड नेटवर्क चल रहा है विद द अदर पर्सन हु हैव इशूड हुंडी फॉर यू. सो दिस इज द टाइप ऑफ मोर लाइक द मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग. मतलब नॉट एग्जैक्टली मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग बट एक तरीके का सिस्टम जहां पे हवाला नेटवर्क काम कर रहा है. यू कैन कंपेयर इट विद द हवाला टाइप ऑफ सिस्टम. ठीक है. बट hundi was the formal type of system. Hawala is a type of informal or more illegal system. Then some religious term, sulhe kul, Akbar ने जो policy बनाई religious tolerance की policy, right? So that is the entire set of policy. But then deen-e-ilahi और tawhid-e-ilahi is the specific religion. So sulhe kul is the broader policy of Akbar, जिसमें jizya हटाना, Rajputs के साथ matrimonial alliance, all these things were incorporated. Then Ibadat Khana was the place in the Fatehpur Sikri jahan pe different religious people are gathering. The Akbar is presiding that particular assembly और वहां पर they are doing the religious discussions regarding the religious dialogues. Then Mazhar was the ultimately the doctrine jahan pe if there is any dispute with respect to religion, it is the Akbar who is going to resolve that particular dispute. मतलब Akbar is the ultimate interpreter of the religion. Zimmis or dhimmis is the term used for the non-Muslims, right? So on which the jizya can be implemented. Then Waqf is the charitable property. ठीक है. वक्फ रिलेटेड थिंग्स ऑलरेडी वर देयर. मदद-ए-माश वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन. ठीक है. मिल्क, मदद-ए-माश, इनाम, दीज आर द टेरिटरीज विच आर प्रोवाइडेड फॉर द टैक्स फ्री वाला एस्पेक्ट में टू द सेंट्स, टू द पोएट्स और टू डिफरेंट अदर पीपल एज द चैरिटी. इनाम इज द रेवेन्यू फ्री लैंड राइट. ठीक है. देन दाराशिकों के साथ देर आर टू थिंग्स, टू वर्क्स दैट आर एसोसिएटेड. द ट्रांसलेशन ऑफ उपनिषद्स दैट इज नोन एज सिरे अकबर, एंड देन मजमा-उल बहरीन विच इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द कॉन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ 2C that talks about the बहरीन रीजन, प्रेजेंट डे बहरीन रीजन, और उसके पास में अगर आप देखोगे एक तरफ से पर्शियन गल्फ, एक तरफ से रेड सी, एंड दे आर कॉन्फ्लुएंसिंग इन द अरेबियन सी. सो मजमा-उल बहरीन. एंड फतवा-ए-आलमगीरी इज द कंपाइलेशन ऑफ द इस्लामिक लॉ ड्यूरिंग द टाइम पीरियड ऑफ औरंगजेब. Next is then architecture term. हम लोगों ने already during the Delhi Sultanate we had seen. Now arabesque was already there, arcs, dome सब चल रहा है, but अब उसमें क्या ऐड हो गया? पितेरा दिउरा. Now पितेरा दिउरा means stone inlay. You have carved out this surface, वहां पे कोई precious stone डाला, and that you have made sure the surface is smooth, and that is the पितेरा दिउरा. Charbagh style, again there is in center there is some water related thing, and then the park is divided in front of that particular building. Park is divided into 4 parts. Hushed Behist plan or Hushed Behist system is basically एक central dome है, and then rather than ensuring the square, the pattern goes like this. इस तरीके का कुछ pattern रहेगा. So there are multiple phases 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 like this. इधर central dome है. So you see Taj Mahal, you see Humayun ka Maqbara. Generally you will observe this type of plan. Double dome, there is a exterior dome, larger one, interior dome to provide the stability so that the upper dome should not collapse. There is Iwan. Now this is the vaulted type opening. आपने देखा होगा generally when there are Islamic structures, एक बड़ा सा vault होता है, and then there is a small vault also, और वहां पे main दरवाजा होता है. So this is known as Iwan. And there is another term known as the Pishta. See, Pista is a term that is used for the South Indian architecture for the uplifted part. That is known as Pista. But Pishtak is the term that is utilized for the rectangular frame around this particular facade. तो इसके around जो एक rectangular frame रहता है, that is known as the Pishtak. So these are the terms. अब UPSC generally might not go in this detail, but they can give you certain things. Iwan, Pishtak, Hasht Bisht are associated with what? So Mughal style architectural term. Not do? Not important. History अपने लिए नहीं important है वो सारी चीज. करंट में न्यूज में है, लोकेशन इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकती है, वो वहां का आर्किटेक्चर. सी अगेन वो इतना आप आर्किटेक्चर में नहीं जाओगे, किसी दूसरे कंट्री के आर्किटेक्चर क्या क्या क्या? ओनली, हाँ, तो भाई मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, उसका उसका सिर्फ आप उसका उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखोगे दैट लोकेशन इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट साइट के बारे में ज्यादा। इन दैट डिटेल यू नीड नॉट टू गो इन मच डिटेल ऑफ द आर्किटेक्चर, ठीक है। अब इंडिया में ऑलरेडी देयर आर मेनी टाइप ऑफ डोम्स दैट आर देयर ऑलरेडी, इतना सारा है ना, व्हाई टू मतलब रीड अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स फ्रॉम द एक्सटर्नल पार्ट, क्योंकि अदर देन दैट तो जहां पे भी अब कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होगा आप हर जगह का, अगर आप आर्किटेक्चर में जाओगे देन इवेंचुअली द सिलेबस विल नॉट कंप्लीट। हाँ हाँ, वो ठीक है, बट वो इकोनॉमी में देखो ना, मतलब फ्रॉम द हिस्ट्री पर्सपेक्टिव व्हाई यू आर थिंकिंग डोम से क्या उसका मतलब, वो रिफाइनरी डोम से थोड़ी ना आ रही है। हाँ हाँ, वही मैं बोल रहा हूं अगेन, इफ दैट जगह, तो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग ना, प्लेस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, आर्किटेक्चर वगैरह नहीं, वो ऑयल की वजह से इंपॉर्टेंट है। सो लोकेट दोस पर्टिकुलर थिंग्स ऑन द मैप फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ द कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, नॉट फ्रॉम द हिस्ट्री वाला एस्पेक्ट कि आपको वहां का आर्किटेक्चर भी देखना है, वहां पे फिर क्या क्या रीजन है, वो नहीं। फॉर द कंट्री यू माइट सी नाउ ईरान इज इंपॉर्टेंट, ईरान को आप लोकेट करो फ्रॉम द ज्योग्राफी एंड इकोनॉमी पर्सपेक्टिव, ठीक है। Then there are literature again, like we have provided over there for the Delhi Sultanate. यहाँ पर भी literature, there is अकबरनामा by अबुल फजल, ठीक है। अब अकबरनामा में भी there are 3 volumes, ठीक है। एक लास्ट वॉल्यूम जो है that is the आईने अकबरी। So आईने अकबरी में अबुल फजल talks about the details of the Akbar's administrative and the other type of records, ठीक है। तो अकबरनामा and आईने अकबरी, two different things. अकबरनामा is a broader term utilized for the entire set of works for the Akbar. बाबरनामा तुजू के बाबरी, इट वॉज रिटन इन द चटकाई तर्क लैंग्वेज में यूज लिखा गया ये बाय द बाबर इटसेल्फ। सो बाबर ने ही खुद लिखा है, दिस इज द बाबरनामा। तुजू के जहांगीर बाय द जहांगीर हिमसेल्फ। देन देयर आर सर्टेन अदर वर्क जैसे पादशाहनामा फॉर द शाहजहांजरीन। देयर इज देन मुंतखाब उत तवारीख, इट इज बाय द बदाउनी। नाउ दिस इज अ क्रिटिकल अकाउंट of Akbar. So Akbar की policies का critical account है, like his policy of Sulh Kul and many other policies which were being criticized by Badauni, right? Then there are certain other work. Razmnama is very important because this is the Mahabharat. This is the Mahabharat written in the Persian language. So it is the type of translation of Mahabharat. Then in the military system there is Ahadi. Ahadi is basically the cavalry that is directly recruited by the empire, but then that is it is directly under the empire. And then there is Dakhili troops. Dakhili means those which are in the service of empire, service of state, but इसको lead कौन कर रहा है? It is the Mansabdar. Now Mansabdar के खुद के troops हैं, and then there is second set of troop which is the Dakhili troop which is under the Mansabdar. ठीक है, तो these are the prominent military terms that are there. Other than that we have already discussed. Then there is a term known as Janzir-e-Adl. Janzir-e-Adl basically is associated with the chain of justice attached to the Jahangir's court. ठीक है, तो it is said that there was a chain. Everyone and each and every individual can access that particular chain. If there is a chain that is rung, the king directly is going to listen to that particular individual. So it is a type of, like, आप assume कर सकते हो, may not be exactly the similar thing, but एक तरीके का accessibility of the king to the common masses, this is being depicted. Now a few things are remaining. ठीक है, जरा सा ही बचा है। रीजनल एम्पायर्स, रीजनल में विजयनगर, बहमानी एंड मराठा। ठीक है, विजयनगर में देर इज अमारा नायका सिस्टम या नयंकारा सिस्टम या फिर अमरम टेन्योर। सो अमारा इज बेसिकली या अमरम इज बेसिकली द लैंड, सो इट इज द लैंड टेन्योर। सो जो जागीरदारी सिस्टम है, जो मनसबदारी सिस्टम है, जहां पे आप लैंड दे रहे हो, सिमिलर चीज आपका अमारा नायका सिस्टम या नयंकारा सिस्टम है, जहां पे मिलिट्री लीडर्स वर बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड विद द लैंड, दे हैव द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू कलेक्ट द रेवेन्यू, दे हैव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू गिव दिस पर्टिकुलर रेवेन्यू का कुछ पोर्शन टू द किंग एंड keep remaining and ensure the troop maintenance for the king. So military administrative system where the land or the amaram were granted to the nayaks. Nayaks were the rulers or the landlords, they are the local rulers. Now since it is the type of feudal system, land permanent nahi hai, land is temporarily assigned to them, it can be taken, it is not hereditary in nature, rights are conditional and transferable. Next is the Iyengar system. Iyengar is basically a type of village assembly. So it is the village administrative system with 12 hereditary functionaries. So Iyengar system again associated with the Vijayanagar Empire, jahan pe this particular territory is being led by the 12 hereditary functionaries who are handling the रेवेन्यू, पुलिसिंग, मतलब जो सारे विलेज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के काम. नाउ यू कैन कंपेयर देम विद द उरार्स, सबैयार्स. ठीक है, उरार्स फॉर द जनरल पर्पस लैंड, सबैयार्स फॉर द महासभा और वो आपके अग्रहारा लैंड. नेक्स्ट इज अठवने. अठवने इज द सेंट्रल रेवेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट that is used. So this term is used for the revenue collection. Then Ashtadiggaj, which were associated with the court of the Krishna Dev Raya. Now there are prominent personalities like there is Allasani Pedanna. There are and Allasani Pedanna wrote Manucharitam. So there is a book known as Manucharitam that was wrote by Allasani Pedanna. Apart from that, even there is Tenali Ramakrishna. So Tenali Ramakrishna, that is also a prominent personality. Next is he himself was a scholar, Krishna Dev Raya. So Amukta Malyata, Jambavati Kalyanam, these are the books that were being written. Amukta Malyata is in Telugu and Jambavati Kalyanam is in Sanskrit. So these are the two important works that were of the Krishna Dev Raya, prominently associated with the Tuluva dynasty. So that is also important. Yali we have already discussed, mythical lion-like creature, right? Then Hindu Suratrana. So basically they were known as the Hindu Sultans. They were calling themselves as the Hindu Sultan, means the ruler who are ruling on behalf of the god. But then we are the Hindu rulers, right? So Hindu Suratrana is the title adopted by the Vijayanagar ruler as the Hindu Sultans. Next is the segmentary state theory. Segmentary state theory is the same as this one, Nayankara system, जहां पे the state is a segmented state is provided in the form of different feudal tenures. There are Amaram tenures that are being provided and they are conditional, they are non-hereditary in nature and they can be transferred from one person to another person. ठीक है. Next is the Bahmani Sultanate. So Bahmani में there is a taraf system. Now जो आप इक्ताज होते थे, now the similar are the taraf. So एक जो एम्पायर है उसको डिवाइड कर दिया आपने डिफरेंट तरफ्स. तरफ्स आर बेसिकली द लैंड असाइंड टू दोज पर्टिकुलर पर्सनैलिटीज जो कलेक्ट करेंगे रेवेन्यू ओवर दैट पर्टिकुलर तरफ. दे आर द प्रोविंसेस अंडर दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टेट एंड ईच तरफ इज बीइंग हेल्ड बाय अ तरफदार, राइट. Then Deccanese versus Afakis. Deccanese were the local nobles, Afakis were the foreign nobles. So there are many foreign nobles from the Ethiopia and many other regions. So there were Deccanese and the Afakis. Now हमेशा दोनों के बीच में conflict चलता था because Deccani nobles were thinking that we are superior because we belong to this region. Afakis were thinking कि भाई देखो ये तो supreme मानते हैं अपने आप को, but we are more intelligent. We have controlled the revenue of this particular place, right? So that's why there was a eminent conflict between them. Then Kitab-e-Nauras, a work of Ibrahim Adil Shah. So he is also known by the title of Jagat Guru. ठीक है. So he had wrote multiple works with respect to Sanskrit and many other languages and even the Dakkani language. So Kitab-e-Nauras, Ibrahim Adil Shah. Now this Kitab-e-Nauras was dedicated to goddess Saraswati. ठीक है. So dedicated to goddess Saraswati. Last in this is the Maratha Empire. Swaraj is basically the self-rule. There is a concept of Swaraj and Samrajya. Swaraj is the self-rule. Samrajya is the empire building wala aspect within that. Then Hindvi Swaraj, basically the Hindu pad Padishahi, जो बाद में realize किया गया by the Bajirao one. So basically the Hindu ruler who is going to be the supreme sovereign over this particular place. Ashtapradhan system, like there is Ashtadiggaj system of the Vijayanagar Empire, Krishna Dev Raya. Ashtapradhan system is the 8 ministers under rule of Shivaji. There is a Amatya and many other ministers. एक बार ministers just have the title, have an idea regarding the titles of those particular ministers. I have not incorporated over here. NCERT में वो दिया हुआ है clearly कि पेशवाज, then there are different other Surnavis are there, then there are Majumdars are there. ठीक है. So वो है. Along with that I'll provide. So on the channel I'll share that also. ठीक है. Peshwa or the prime minister, they became the supreme authority over a period of time. So during the time period of Balaji Vishwanath and then his successors, the Peshwa became the supreme authority, even surpassing the emperor. Chauth, 25% of tribute on those particular territories which Marathas are not ruling directly, but Marathas thinks that yes, this particular territory belonged to them. And in order to prevent a raid on those particular territories, this Chauth was levied. Sardeshmukhi is basically on their hereditary land, जो hereditarily Marathas ने control किए थे, and this is the 10% on and above Chauth. So Chauth के ऊपर 10% extra is the Sardeshmukhi. Then Ganimi Kawa is basically the guerrilla warfare tactics of Marathas. This is known as the Ganimi Kawa. Then there is Bargirs. So Bargirs are basically the cavalrymen जो कि पेड एंड इक्विप बाय द स्टेट, मतलब स्टेट ने अपने कैवेलरी मैन रखे हुए हैं, स्टेट उसको पे करता है, स्टेट हॉर्सेस के लिए भी पे करता है, स्टेट उसके आर्म्स के लिए भी और इंडिविजुअल के लिए भी पे करता है। शिलेदार्स, नाउ शिलेदार्स यू कैन अज्यूम लाइक द अ जागीरदार, जो एक इंडिविजुअल है हु इज कीपिंग हिज ट्रूप, so state is going to pay to the शिलेदार only, now state is going to pay to that and वो शिलेदार अपने forces को खुद पे करेगा, that is the his headache. Now this is not the king's headache, right? Then there is a Vagnak. Vagnak is basically the claw, tiger claw that was utilized by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Rajyabhishek Shak, so Rajyabhishek Shak is the year of coronation of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. 1674 is considered as a Rajyabhishek Shak. Then Bakhar is a type of literature that is mainly predominant in the Maratha literature, that is to talk about a lot, talk about that particular ruler, मतलब उसका बखान करना या उसके बारे में बताना. So बखार लिटरेचर उसे पॉपुलराइज करना, उस पर्टिकुलर पर्सनैलिटी को पॉपुलराइज करना. सरखेल इज द टाइटल ऑफ द नेवल चीफ और नेवल एडमिरल, सो दैट पर्टिकुलर पर्सनैलिटी वाज कान्होजी आंग्रे, हु वाज अ प्रिडोमिनेंट पर्सनैलिटी एसोसिएटेड विद द मराठा नेवी, right? Then next is the Adanya Patra. Adanya Patra was written by Ramachandra Pant Amatya. Now this is the later Shivaji tradition, जहां पे शिवाजी के ideals को mention किया गया and said कि Maratha administration should be done on these particular ideals. So that is the Adanya Patra issued by Ramachandra Pant Amatya. Script कौन सी use करेगी थी? मोदी script was being utilized over there. ठीक है? So मोदी script was the script. Then next is the हुकूमत पंथ. हुकूमत पंथ was जब मराठा रूलर वॉज एक्साइल्ड इन द रीजन ऑफ जिंजी एंड मराठा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन चल रहा है महाराष्ट्र रीजन से, बट देन रूलर नहीं है, सो देयर वाज अ हुकूमत पंथ, मींस किंग हैड सेंड ए रिप्रेजेंटेटिव दैट इज टेकिंग द डिसीजन इन द नेम ऑफ किंग, मतलब किंग उसे बता रहा है, ही इज द रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ किंग इन द मराठा एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रीजन. ठीक है. लास्ट इज द कॉन्फेडरेसी सिस्टम. सो दिस कॉन्फेडरेसी वॉज बेसिकली कि एक कोई सेंट्रलाइज सिस्टम नहीं था. There are Peshwas in Pune, then there are Holkars in Indore, there are Sindhyas in the Gwalior region, then there are Gaikwads in the Baroda region, and the Nagpur mein there were Bhosles. So at central it is the Peshwas, and then there are the subordinates or equivalent authorities, right? So this is the confederacy system of Marathas. ठीक है. So this is it, and there are certain other things. ये I think बहुत comparatively easy to know है. ठीक है. So I have incorporated these also. So this particular thing I'll get it uploaded. ठीक है. Now I think with this we have completed the entire set of discussion for the ancient and medieval. complete हो चुका है. Modern में a lot of terms are not there, but then topic wise we can have the discussion. So if there is any next class, that will be talking about certain prominent topics and the conceptual discussion regarding this. ठीक है. So I'll provide it to the team for the upload also, and along with that just now only I'll upload on the Telegram also regarding this. I have already shared in the beginning that particular link, तो वहाँ पे you can have this particular document. ठीक है. Clear? Any idea? Anything? चलो. Thank you everyone. Have a great day.